Morning, welcome everyone to the Stani Army Watch Along. It's Pakistan, South Africa. It's the first test from Karachi this morning. I'm your host, Akbar Chowdhury. We've got Hamza as well here this morning, and a few more guests to come. Hamza, morning. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. What are we doing up so early? What's going on?
I know. So
Why are
for
we doing this?
it's 5 a.m. UK time. It's -2 outside.
Yeah,
Feels like the rest of the country is sleeping, but obviously we're here watching Pakistan as always. What are you thinking about the game and the series? Obviously we're fielding first.
yeah. Are we fielding, are we? I was just trying to find out. Yeah, I've got a stream up here. Disappointed that we started with Fahim. I think we should have picked Cameron Ghulam as the extra batsman. Let's have a look at the South Africa team. Elgar, Markham, Van der Vussen, Du Plessis, De Kock, Bavuma. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Lind. I think he's an all-rounder.
Yeah,
Maharaj, and then the
Miranda.
seamers. Okay, cool.
So it's interesting at the toss. I think De Kock said at the toss he would have gone with three spinners. So they would have gone with Linda, Maharaj, and Shamsi. Shamsi got a back spasm, I think, in the warm up. So he wasn't able to play. So they've gone with. To be fair, I mean, if we were playing them away, Rabada, Norkira, and Ngidi is pretty fearsome. I don't know how much of an impact they're going to have on these tracks, but yeah, they've gone with two spinners, and eventually, obviously, we've gone with two spinners as well.
Yeah, I think Robardo will be good enough anyway.
Yeah,
He's world class.
yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be it when if we don't. I think obviously we need to bowl well. Obviously, it goes without saying. But if South Africa get a good score on the good score on here, which with a decent batting lineup, they possibly could. I think they're going to put a fair bit of pressure on us when we come to bat. We've got the first ball coming up. It's Shaheen bowling to Dean Elgar. Oh, there's a bit of a hold up with play starting there.
Yeah, I think both teams pretty similar setups. Both playing an all rounder, but they're playing spinning all. Is Lin's a spinning all rounder? Is he?
Yeah. So first ball from Shaheen is wide down the leg side. Not the best start. So yeah, and obviously we're playing. So we're playing with Norman in the team. Um, so it means obviously I would have thought we might have gone with Sajid to get the leg spin, off spin, left arm, right arm, plus
Yeah.
the X factor of Fahim Ashraf. But obviously we've gone with slow left arm and leg spin. Bit of a throwback, I guess, isn't it? To you can go Abdul Rahman and then a right arm spinner
Tajmal.
like Ajmal or Zulfikar was always slow left arm, wasn't he? So I guess maybe it's the formula that Misbah kind of likes.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't go with Sajid. I think they've gone with Noman because he's actually had about 2 or 3 good seasons. So they're like, oh, let's just see how he does. I'm
Yeah.
not totally against it. Just it just makes a bit more sense, right, left, and over the ball's turning in different directions.
Yeah, and the other thing I guess is, we've been talking kind of off camera and stuff about long-term investment and things like that. Obviously, Norman is, I think he's 34.
Yeah,
So again, you wonder how much mileage you're going to get out of him.
yeah. I don't mind making a decision just to win a series. That's still okay as long as it's justified. I think from what I've seen of Sajid, he bowls quite slow. His off spin is very
Yeah,
floaty. That's what I've seen of him. So I don't know how good he'll be in internationals.
early wickets needed to match the early star. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? It's just gone 5 o'clock here, so fair play to anyone who's watching along. I think this is the kind of start that separates the men from the boys, isn't it?
Unless Karachi's. Have we got Karachi in? No, not yet. I don't think
Not
so.
just well, Shaheen honing in on the pads there, but it's played away by Elgar for a couple of runs. So South Africa are off the mark with three, in fact. I think Markram's coming back for a third there. Overall, what are you thinking about the series? So where do you see it going? Obviously, we've got two tests. We've got Karachi and then Pindi starting in next Thursday, so only 8 days' time. We'll be starting the second test match. How confident are you?
I think I'm not sure, mainly because I don't know how good these South Africans are. I mean, they beat Sri Lanka recently, but then they're quite rubbish team right now. So you don't really. It's a bit of an unknown quantity. And Gidi, I think, is good in South African conditions. I don't know what he's like in Asian conditions. Although I do, I like a good tall fast bowler. Rabada's world class, so he'll be fine wherever he goes. I think whichever batting holds up is going to win it.
Oh, shout from the fruit of Shaheen there. One that was left by Markram. It's coming back in onto the pads, but it's probably a bit high. I don't think we're going for the review there, but got on to swing into the pads. Decent start from Afridi.
Yeah, he always gets a bit of movement with the new ball, Shaheen.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit high, but it'll make Markham think twice about leaving them from now on. Yeah, I mean South Africa's record in the subcontinent. If you think about their last couple of tours to India, pretty ropey, and they've been beaten quite easy. I think their last tour to Sri Lanka as well, they lost. So obviously they've been quite in the build-up. They've been quite bullish about how they're going to perform in this series. They've mentioned about the pitch is being a little bit better for batting in Pakistan, and a little less kind of dust bowly like maybe Bangladesh or Sri Lanka. So I think they come into this quite confident, especially having performed against Sri Lanka the way that they did.
Yeah. I wonder if this Norte is any good. He looked right against South Africa. Sri Lanka.
No, absolutely. So yeah, Nortje's been he had for what it's worth, I think he had a pretty good IPL. He's done well for South Africa as well. He's quick, really quick. And again, it depends upon whether this is the kind of track that's gonna aid that kind of bowling or not. I guess there's been lots of fast bowlers that have headed over to the subcontinent with pace that haven't then managed to really get much from the surfaces. I guess the prototype will be someone like Stani, or even Jimmy Anderson, who, despite being kind of traditional kind of seam swing bowlers, have done pretty well out there. And we've got Hassanelli now coming into the attack.
I think my stream's a ball behind yours.
Oh, fair enough.
I've just seen Shaheen's LBW shout.
Oh, okay.
What are you watching it on?
So we've got it on Sky Sports here. So this is obviously our first home series on Sky Sports, not against England, for quite some time. And they've signed a 3-year deal, I think, even a 2-year deal for our home series.
Yeah, that's big, isn't it? Really good.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, let's not beat around the bush. Wasim Khan hasn't got absolutely everything right. No one in positions of power often do. But I think one of the things he's done really well is improve our ties with the other cricket boards, with the ECB. I think some of that will be behind why Sky Sports have signed this deal. So no, fair play to the board for getting that done. There's been a lot of TV deals signed, in fact, recently.
Yeah, I think he's got. I don't know. The only debatable decision was obviously giving Misbah all that power.
Yes, exactly.
Other than that, I think he has got everything right.
Yeah. No, I think he's been a breath of fresh air. So the good thing is,
would you have started with this 11?
I would have gone. Probably, I might have just gone with Sajid instead of Naman Ali, just as I say, for that bit of variation. But otherwise, yeah, by and large, I think this covers our bases. If it's kind of a bit like traditional Karachi, where actually you can get a bit of movement first up, then I don't think 3 seamers is a bad idea. Hassan's been a bit wayward so far. He's just been played quite easily through the covers there by Elgar. This could go for the first boundary of the day, and it's been stopped possibly on the boundary. So I think by and large I would have gone with this team. The only thing is the other spinner instead of Naman. That's the only change I probably would have made. And now there'll be some Sad Shakil fans saying that, how does he not get into this team, or Kamran Ghulam, as you said. I think that would have meant altering the balance of the team. I know we've had that chat, haven't we? But by and large, yeah, pretty happy. It'd be good to get an idea from the comments as to whether any viewers would have picked this team, and that's the boundary there. Whether anyone else would have picked a different team, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind playing Noman. I said, from what I've seen of Sajid, I think he bowls a little slow. But I don't know how much. Yeah, it's a bit. There's quite a gap from domestic to international. So I think that slow pace. I think they might have picked him, but who knows? Yeah, I wouldn't have played for him. I'd have played Ghulam because he can bowl as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching it, yeah. No, I don't know. I don't like Fahim in Asian conditions because as a bowler, he's not like Stokes or Flintoff. You're not going to throw him the ball and say, "Give me a wicket." you're going to throw him the ball and say hold up and end.
I take your point. I mean, obviously, I've mentioned balance of the side, but obviously, apart from just balance of the side, you've got to look at the actual individuals kind of playing, haven't you? And I think, yeah, I guess if you're thinking of how the seamers get their wickets in the subcontinent, you're thinking either express pace or kind of reverse swing.
Yeah.
Now, Fahim, I think in domestic cricket, I think Fahim's got a pretty good average at this ground. I think I was reading he's got one of the better averages. Whether that makes a difference when you're playing, South African team or not, I don't know. As we've seen, when you look at the likes of, I was just looking at the scores this week. You look at Shan Masood, you look at Haris Sahel, they've gone back into domestic cricket and they're scoring big. And it makes you think, well, actually, hold on. Given how badly we've just seen them exposed in international cricket, maybe we shouldn't read so much into Hassan's a bit wayward here. That's another one down the leg side, and it's gone for 4. Given the scores and given how well they're playing in domestic cricket, how much weight can we give domestic wickets and runs when actually some of our tried and tested failures are scoring heavily? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You've got to obviously contextualize the runs. Like I watched that match where Shan made that 100. He made 120 at like a strike rate of like 80.
Yes,
And
yeah,
the other guys were striking at 120 because one of the ends of the pitch was short.
right.
And
Okay.
everyone was targeting it, basically hitting
Right.
sixes.
Right.
And even then, Shan was going at like 75 for most of his innings. So yeah, I would. Sometimes you can discount runs. This is where you actually have to watch domestic cricket because a lot of people who just sit there and be like, "Oh, well, Sean's made 100. He must be
Yeah,
back in form."
exactly.
No, another guy made 100. Another 2 guys made 50s, I think, and they all went at 120, and he was going at 80. So yeah, but yeah, the thing is, like, yeah, obviously I hope for him as well, but it's just he's not going to get you wickets unless they bat badly. And obviously Cameron's a better batsman, and he offers something with the ball as well. So you're thinking it's going to be a turning pitch. So I don't know. I would have gone with Ghulam personally.
I think almost sometimes it's just like when you think of the second test against New Zealand where we picked Zuffer, and you're thinking, well, hold on, why did you pick? Why drop Yasir Shah for Zuffer Gohar? And I think it's just in case it turns that we've got a spinning option. Here I think it's kind of, well, we've got 2 spinners, we've got our bases covered there. I don't know, maybe it's the point I made to you again, off the show yesterday about maybe if they don't quite trust Hassan and Shaheen from a fitness point of view, you want to have a backup seamer there. I don't know, but I think I don't think that's going to be the thing probably that changes the outcome of this test.
Yeah, pretty poor first over by Hassan.
Yeah, it's not been a great start. I mean, we've had 2.2 overs. It's 12 for none. Trap doesn't look like it's doing a lot. It doesn't look like it's flying through to the keeper. But again, I guess you've got to give someone like Hassan, although he's been playing a lot of 4-day cricket. I guess there'll be an element of nerves coming back for his first test match. I mean, I'm trying to think when Hassan last played a test match for us. I'm thinking
Couple of years.
One of the Emirates, one of the series in the Emirates against New Zealand or Sri Lanka. Oh, Shaheen's beating the outside edge. That was better. 86 mph from Shaheen. So his pace was, I think Hassan was about mid-80s as well.
Yeah. Did you watch much of the India-Australia series?
I tried to watch quite a bit of that. Yeah. It's, regardless of the result, pretty entertaining cricket, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. Two pretty average teams, I reckon. I know people are bigging up India. Winning in Australia is no mean feat, but I don't think either of them are that good.
I think Australia have got problems with from a batting point of view, haven't they? I mean, I think
You'd think that they've got like loads of batsmen. The way they treat Usman Khawaja, he's a proper solid batsman, and they never play him. You're like, who's your alternative? Like Steve Waugh and Mark Waugh or something? And it's like Wade and what was it? Who's the other one? Joe, whatever his name is, who's the opener.
they've got Joe Burns opening. They had, I think, in the last match they had Warner and Harris opening. They had Pekowski before then. I think before he got injured. I think maybe Pekowski came in for the last game actually. But yeah, no, it's the Wade is the one that gets me because I don't, I think of Matthew Wade as a keeper essentially. Maybe a bit, obviously kind of keep a batsman, but that's a lovely shot from Elgar. He's just lent onto that, and that's the boundary. I think we've got Nav ready to come on as well.
Who?
I think Nav's here.
Hello,
Nav.
guys. Morning.
Morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
No, you're all right. So are the opening bowlers, I think, by the looks of it.
Yeah. They haven't woken up yet either.
Yeah, he was talking about Khwaja. I think he fell out with Langer. Langer's and Wade fits the sort of player he wants, sort of aggressive, typical Australian. Khwaja was their star player when Smith and Warner were out. He's been very badly treated. We often use the word racism. I think Khwaja may be a victim of that, to be honest. He doesn't get a look in when the people at the marshes keep on getting picked.
I think there's an element of, sometimes it feels like your face doesn't quite fit. I know that's been one thing that kind of has been mentioned with Khawaja and the management, and kind of, the way that they're going about their elite honesty and this kind of restructuring of Australian cricket and changing attitudes, all that kind of stuff. It's certainly, if you think back to, I don't know if any of you guys watched the test, the documentary that came on Amazon following the Australian team. It does seem like kind of Khawaja and Langer get on quite well. I mean, maybe that's just paying lip service to it, but it seemed like they had a decent relationship. You read a few interviews, and although he's not all that happy with how the board have communicated with him, he usually says some pretty nice things about Langer. I don't know, you could be right, but it does seem odd that he doesn't get a look in a series where they really struggled with the bat against him.
I think it's. I don't know if it's a racist thing. I think it's a lot. I think it's a. He's got a very languid style about himself, and all very chilled. You get this in football as well, where they have like a certain guy who's totally chill, and sort of floats around, and they look at him like he's lazy or something, or doesn't care, and that's just their personality. I think Uzi, he's got that kind of languid, chill personality, and the Aussies generally like someone, get stuck in, all right, boys, another one on the Barbie, all that kind of rubbish. And so he's a team man, and all that. Like, I don't think he does all of that kind of stuff. He probably, there's a couple of guys he gets on with and blah blah blah.
He's a bit, I guess the phrase you would use, he's a bit aloof, isn't he? And that you get players like that in cricket. I mean, you look at someone, just the obvious example, someone like Peterson, who's again, he just didn't quite fit in that dressing room culture. This has been one heck of a start from South Africa. It's another boundary. We're 24 for none here. They're racing along over a run of ball. It's been wayward stuff, really wayward.
Right. I'm on Sky Go because I'm still in bed, and we're only 16 without loss.
Yeah, same. I've got 16.
Make it funny.
There's a couple of boundaries coming your way, unfortunately. This has not been a very good start. Bowling both sides of the wicket. Decent pace for what it's worth. And Nav, I know you like.
Afridi's bowled all right. Afridi's bowled. He beat Elgar a couple of times, but Hassan's been.
Again, the question comes to, the age-old question that we seem to have lost a generation of fast bowlers, haven't we? I mean, Hassan Ali's played how many Test matches? A handful.
10.
Afridi's played a handful, and we're putting a lot of pressure on these boys because there isn't a leader of an attack, is there? We're putting everything from Afridi. Afridi in any other country would be first change and learning his trade.
Yeah, no, it's another brilliant shot from Markram. They're not hanging about, are they? 28 for none. Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree, and it's a point I've made before. The ages of our bowlers, and again, and that goes back to then. We're talking about the makeup of this team. Obviously, we spoke about. You said it's that balance, isn't it? You want to win the game that's in front of you, so you need to win this series to go up the rankings and get your WTC points and all that stuff. But then equally, you think long-term investment. Norman Hinley at the age of 34, making his debut for Sun. Where do you think that balance is of short-term results versus long-term investment kind of thing? Do you think we've got that quite right?
We just need to stop losing. There's an interview that Sam Allardyce did on the radio about a week ago, and he was talking about all the teams that he takes, and they were like, "Oh, when Sunderland and Palace and all that stuff. Like, how do you turn them around?" And he just says, "When I first go in, you got to stop the goals going in. It's not about attacking. You need to stop conceding goals. What's the equivalent of that in cricket? You got to stop collapses. You got to start getting to 350 batting first, and that's where the whole Fahim thing really winds me up, because the equivalent of playing Fahim, we'd have these debates after the New Zealand series. Oh, if you can't take 20 wickets with 5 bowlers, you think you're going to take 20 wickets with 4? Yeah, but we're not even in the game yet. You got to get in the game to start thinking about 20 wickets. If your batsmen are collapsing, you're not. You got to stop the rot. So anyway, yeah.
So you think at least a bit of experience, just if you throw a young guy into a team that's not doing quite so well, a young in terms of age and just cricket experience, as it were, you put a young guy into a team that's not doing well, that team continues to do badly, he's going to not deal with it quite as well as maybe a 34-year-old who's been around the block and knows, actually, if things don't go well, I've got plan B, plan C, plan D, honed his skills in domestics and what have you. So I guess I can see some logic in that, and it's not going to phase Norman Ellie if South Africa go after him, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is also, remember, we're playing at home, and the other thing is, all those runs Ghulam made, what city were they in for the Qais Azam Trophy? They're all in Karachi. He made all those runs in Karachi. That's the way. I just think you might as well just, it's like you've got a winning ticket, just cash in. The guy's made all these runs in Karachi, and you're playing a test match in Karachi. I know I'm just picking on this one guy as an example, but it doesn't make sense to me not playing him. But considering he's made his runs in that city, so use your home advantage. But yeah, I don't mind playing Norman early. I think at home you can sort of throw in debutants like that, and you still be all right.
Again, it goes down to, we've had Yasser Ali, we've had Shadab. We've always had a decent left arm spinner and off spinner, and sort of they seem to have disappeared as well recently, haven't we? We've not really. It was quite strange the way Abdur Rahman just disappeared off the scene.
After he bowled those 2 beamers, 3 beamers. Remember when he got banned?
Which is weird, because you weren't really picking him for his one-day cricket in the first place. But after that we never saw much of him. Just a comment from Imi Vargam in the morning. Yeah, the wicket does. It's funny. Imi, just as soon as Imi posted that point about the wicket being a bit low, Shaheen got one to fly through about throat high at the marker. But apart from that, it doesn't. The pitch doesn't look like it's doing a lot. The ball doesn't look like it's doing a lot off the pitch in the air. And we made the point, didn't we, about South Africa wanting to play a third spinner. Morning Naz, pitch does look pretty good for batting on, doesn't it? It's pretty true coming onto the bat, relatively straightforward. Could be a long day, maybe get a spinner on early. How long? I mean, they're going at about a run of ball. How long are you giving it before a change? Or Hamza, are we sticking with these two for a bit yet?
Yeah, I'd give Hassan another over.
It doesn't, when you're playing 2 seamers plus Fahim and then 2 spinners, you haven't really got a lot of options, have you? If one of your seamers is off, bringing on Fahim isn't going to change the game, is it?
Probably not. So we haven't spoken to you about the team, Nav. What would you have done in terms of this 11?
Well, in terms of bowlers, what were the other options? You had Darbish is 36, or you have Harris Rauf, which is totally left field. It's like picking Theo Walcott for that World Cup. That he hasn't played a first class game. What is the logic in having him in the Test squad? Oh, pace is pace. So, I mean, there weren't really that many options, were there? The only option was either you played Nawaz as an all-rounder or you played Fahim. So, I mean, the team basically picked itself, didn't it? There wasn't any real options as far as I was concerned. So this was the team that was going to get picked.
I mean, Hamza talks about having Kamran Ghulam in and maybe playing the extra batsman. without kind of going over all that again. I mean, just in terms of whether it's Gharman Ghulam or a different batsman, do you think would you have been tempted to go with a 4-man attack?
Very,
Catch it, got him.
Yeah.
Shaheen with a brilliant, got the wicket of Markram there.
Yeah, Shaheen's been bowling all right.
Oh, excellent.
it's very. I mean, I've not seen Gharman Ghulam play. It's quite, if you have two seamers and 2 spinners, then you are really, really limiting yourself in what you can do. And we haven't.
You've got to look out for this catch. This is an absolutely brilliant catch. So Markram's is caught the edge there. Oh, brilliant catch! Second slip, diving just to his left and forward and round butt. What a way to announce yourself in the team.
By the way, Sean dropped a dolly in the domestic in that match where he made 100 as well.
I did.
He wasn't laughing this time though, thankfully. Prat.
Oh, catch!
Okay, I think I'm just seeing it now. Let's have a look. Go on, shit. Was it at 30? They took it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what we needed after a pretty ropey start. I think Sheen's bowled better in the past couple of overs anyway.
Yeah, no, he's bowled really well. The fours that they've hit have been genuine good shots, whereas Hassan's, he's bowled a lot sort of too wide or too straight.
Going back to the 4-man attack, that's kind of really, really risky. Anyone breaks down, you haven't got any option. I mean, your spinners have to do a lot of bowling.
Yeah, but we did that for years under Misbah. It worked a treat.
Yeah, but I mean, when you had someone like Saeed Ajmal or old Zulfi Chacha, that was fine. I mean, you've got Shaheen and Hassan has been expensive in tests. You've got Yasir Shah, who is not a containing bowler or a controlling bowler.
Yes, he's got loads of control in Asia, mate. What are you on about? He's good enough in Asia to be a spinner, and then you've got, it's a home series. That's the thing. Like you should be able to trust your spinners in Asia, in Pakistan. Just seeing the catch, that was a wicked catch, but
wouldn't it be negative to then go into a test match you want to win with only 4 bowlers?
No, because we were winning in the UAE with 4 bowlers.
Yeah, but isn't it negative to play an extra batsman?
Yeah, but it's realistic. It's like, we've got to do a Sam Allardyce job here. It's not being negative. It's just being realistic. The batsmen are rubbish.
I think a lot of blame has been put on our batsmen, but our bowling is like our bowling's been superb and our batsmen have let us down.
But how many catches were they dropping in New Zealand? So many crucial catches when we'd have New Zealand 70 for 3 and they drop someone in a dolly. Do you know what I mean? We'd have them 70 for 4. And Misbah said that, and you can't argue with that. We were dropping dollies at crucial points.
I'll tell you what, when you see the replay, just speaking of dollies, when you see the replay of this catch, which they're showing a good couple of times now, it's a brilliant take. That is a very un-Pakistani bit of fielding there, especially compared to what we've been seeing recently.
Yeah, it showed a lot of confidence just diving across the first slip like that.
All I say, if he doesn't make it as a test opener, God forbid, we should get him on as 12th man at all times. Then, if he can,
he'd be our Gary Pratt. It'd be good to hear. Be good to hear in the comments what you guys would have, anyone watching, what you would have changes would have made to the team or the starting 11 that you would have gone with as well.
I mean, out of the 17, who got left out? Saud Shakil, Mohammad Nawaz, Harris Ralph. Who else got left out? Safraz.
Ghulam
wasn't in the 17, was he?
Wasn't he? Oh, I don't know.
No, the 20 to 17 got rid of.
Flipping hell, Hassan, you're rubbish. What are you doing?
And Ghulam, I think. Yeah, so not a lot of love at the moment for Hassanelli. I think obviously we can go easy on him. It's the guy's first of all, it's his 11th test in all. But yeah, he has been pretty wayward this morning. He's 0 for 21 in his 3rd over. The thing is, I mean, again, we've seen Hassanelli play for a few years now. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy, as mentioned about kind of feeling the nerves. Seems like a pretty confident guy. He comes across that way anyway. Yeah.
And again, he was playing all of the Guardian matches in Karachi, so this is his city where he's come back to form in.
We see with Hassanelli, he took all those wickets in the one day. Good fielding. I was never sure that he wasn't a one-trick pony, to be honest. But obviously, he invented took a lot of wickets, and he's been picked on form.
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced of it.
Did he not play at? I think he played at Lords in 2018. You know, the kind of the Abbas game, as it were.
Yeah.
I think he performed pretty well there, which again was a little bit of a surprise because I wouldn't think of Hassan Ali as a kind of, that was a good delivery, kind of green seaming kind of conditions type bowler. He does strike me as someone who's going to, maybe as this game goes on, and if it with the sun's out, dry pitch, whatever, whether if we get a bit of reverse here, maybe he's someone who's more going to come into his own in the second innings.
Hassan's actually, he's got a good test record. 10 tests, the average is like 26. So
he always struck me as a confidence bowler, bloke who turned up and got people out with not particularly good balls. He had the luck of a Botham. That it was the personality and force of personality that got wickets, as opposed to some outstanding skill. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the kind of the great Hassan Ali balls. I guess we'll all think back to that Champions Trophy game against South Africa, won't we?
Yeah.
There's a few in there, wasn't there?
Yeah. On that, on a side note, I've seen Ruman Rees has been made a coach of
bowling.
Yeah, he's not recovered from his knee injury. Again, another Pakistani bowler. Well, he might not have been a great, but played a very good game for us against Sri Lanka. Who's had a knee injury or something, and the Pakistani cricket board medical people have managed to
take Hassan off, man. Bring Fahim on. I'll have control over this rubbish any day.
They've gone with one spinner.
No, they've got two, I think, haven't they? They're all rounders a spinner, and Ashwin, whatever his name, not Ashwin. What's his name?
Maharaj.
Just put the team up on the screen there for you.
That looks like quite a long tail.
No, Lynn's the all rounder.
Yeah.
Maharaj at 8 can't. Well, I don't know. That's the same.
Maharaj seems like a Philander, Robin Peterson kind of batsman who's going to cause us trouble as they.
Simcox.
Sorry.
Pat Simcox.
Yeah, exactly, and the rest. So, I mean, the seamers, I wouldn't expect much in the way of runs from Rabada, Nortje, and Ngidi, but yeah, I mean, I guess they would probably look at. I mean, if we look at our tail, as it were, where does our tail start? Go on, Hamza, I'll let you answer. Where does our tail start?
Well, I'm hoping not for him. I'm hoping not for him. Hassan got a first-class 100 in the last Qadir Trophy, but to be fair, he was just bashing it out of the ground and had nothing to lose. That's not how he's going to play here. But that was at this ground as well, by the way. I don't know anything about no man's batting. They've put him above Yasser, so I'm presuming he can bat a bit.
Well, Yasser of Test century fame, as of course we like to mention on the show here.
I mean, Bavuma, I think he was vice captain. I mean, he scored 1 or 2 Test centuries and got those 36 Test matches.
He hasn't got.
It wasn't.
Yeah, go on now. Sorry.
If it wasn't for their policy of having to pick a certain number of players from the black community, he wouldn't be in the team. He is in the team because of their selection predicament.
Yeah, obviously they've got their transformation kind of targets, haven't they? Which, to be fair, they have to meet over the course of. That's a good shot from Elgar Gully. They've got their transformation targets to meet, which obviously they don't have to do game by game, but they've got to do over the course of the season. But yeah, it just feels like every kind of game that they do pick a team, they've always got that bigger picture in mind of kind of, have we picked enough players of colour? So yeah, it is going to affect them.
I mean, you got to say that Rabada and Ngidi would get in on a matter of talent. Bavuma is the one that you'd say is very, very lucky to be playing.
Is it 3 black African players they have to play in every 11?
I think it's something like
4.
I think it's closer to kind of 4 or 5, and then of course then they like, I guess they kind of call them players of colour. So you've got you've got your kind of black African players like Rabada and Mangidi and what have you. Then you've got the likes of Maharaj, Shamsi, and what have you, who also kind of count towards that overall quota. So, yeah, it's not easy for them, I guess, to kind of always meet those targets. And I mean, there's all kinds of issues in South African cricket at the moment, aren't there, with regards to players who don't particularly agree with that. And that's even going back to someone like Peterson, who left South Africa because he couldn't quite get the chances he felt he deserved.
I mean,
I don't think he left because of that. He was good enough to get in, regardless. I think he was chasing money first, personally. Or maybe he just wanted to play for England.
It was interesting how, it's been interesting how they've found black bowlers, but batsmen have been a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bavuma, I think when he got his 100 against England a few years back, I think he was one of the first, if not the first, kind of black African batsmen to get 100. And then I think he may have got one since then, but I don't think he's got 100 for quite some time. And yeah, his average is he doesn't average particularly highly either. But I mean, again, he's in the team. It's not as if we've always come up against South Africa teams where the superstars have got the runs. I mentioned kind of the likes of Peterson, Robin Peterson with the bat, Philander with the bat. There's been a few that have kind of frustrated us over the years.
Pat Simcox burns hard. Robin Peterson. How we will let him get all them runs and all them wickets, I still don't know.
Well, and then don't forget Paul Harris. So the last time South Africa came to Pakistan was 2007. It was the Amla, Stain, that kind of team, and it was Harris that did so much damage with his left arm kind of into the rough. That was Inzi's last series. Didn't he get in? Wasn't he Inzi's?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Missile?
Yeah, I think that was Inzi's. We lost that series 1-0.
Yeah, in fact,
Eunice got 100 in the second test, saved it for us.
Yeah, we lost the first game here.
How things have moved on that you couldn't get that on Sky or TV, could you?
No, I remember streaming that. That was legally, of course. That was catch that! Oh, it's just fallen short of Barber that slipped. I think there's one that's just fallen short. Actually, a good ball from Hassan, 86 mph, caught the edge of Van der Dusen. And I think it's just fallen short of Barber. Let's have a look on the replay here. Good seam position, catches the edge.
What we made, there's two things that I've just noticed in the last few. First of all, they've brought Mohammed Yusuf on board as well with Yunus Khan. I bet you that was a happy reunion.
They didn't have any beef, did they? Was it over the captaincy for a bit?
I think back end of the early of the 2000s, there was a whole lot of stuff that I think was going on with Yusuf and Yunus, wasn't there?
Yeah, they went to Australia and then both got banned, didn't they, for life after the end of the tour?
Life, Pakistan. It's like a Pakistani retirement.
And secondly, the Eunice's comments that players are getting picked who should have performed and learnt their trade in the first class game. I took that as a dig at the bowling of the likes of Naseem Shah.
Well, Hafiz said something really similar as well, didn't he, in an interview the other day about how we're, and agree or disagree, I guess, but he said how we're kind of quite a way off India and how there's no way we could go and do what they've just done in Australia, because we don't pick players who have performed well over a sustained period of time. We kind of chuck them in. So there's almost feels like, and this, you never know what why people are making comments.
Hafiz says that, and he's a master politician, and he got picked for years and years. We had no form to speak of. Hamza will agree with me here, won't he?
Yeah. I'm not sure about those comments, because like I was saying, the squad, for example, that Misbah picked for New Zealand, who was left behind in Pakistan who deserved to go? I couldn't think of anyone.
Yeah,
with the setup of the team, all rounder or no rounder, 6 batsmen or 5 batsmen, that's different. It's not like there's people being left behind that should be there. There's no one.
And a lot is made of India winning Australia. I mean, India that's very selective thinking, because what have India ever done in England? They won in '86, I think. But generally speaking, they've come here and generally taken a beating. Where Pakistan from '87 till 2005 were generally unbeatable in England. We won a couple of series or drew a couple of series in a row. We won '87, we won '92, we won '96, we drew in '01. We've done well in 16 and 18. So, yeah, we haven't done well in Australia, and India have had two good series, but they've come here and been beaten 4-0 and 4-1 and really been drubbed. So,
the thing is, you get used to playing people as well when you play them a lot. India and Australia have played each other a lot over the last 10 years, in a way, at home and away, in ways that we haven't been able to do that. We've built up Australia so much over the last 20 odd years, because I think someone made this point that a lot of it is because we haven't been able to play them at home, and we've never had home advantage. And so the series becomes so built up.
If you look at our home record, I mean, yeah, in the Emirates we've done okay against Australia. We've beaten them. I think we've beaten them twice. But if you look at our home record, our home record in the '90s and 2000s, I mean, we've been losing to teams like South Africa. We've lost to Zimbabwe at home. We've lost to Sri Lanka at home. We've lost to England at home. We've lost to India at home. I'm not sure our home record, or our lack of cricket at home, necessarily we would have yielded good results. Obviously, you lose loads if you don't play cricket at home.
I know what you're saying, but I mean, like, they became like a mystery to us. Australia, it became like something so enigmatic, and like it's just unbeatable. Whereas at least India had the opportunities to try and challenge them at home.
How often do they go to Australia? We go once in a blue moon. We play 2 or 3 test matches, never 4 or 5, and we're chucked straight in. It used to be, straight to Perth, which is the world's most bouncy wicket. Then to Adelaide or Melbourne, and then Sydney, which is, I mean, Australia lose more games at Sydney because teams acclimatise and it's a bit more spinner friendly, don't they? They do mess you about, sending you here, there, and everywhere. And it's not like they're long tours anymore, because it used to be you'd go out to Australia, have a test match, maybe have 2 test matches, and go into the one-day tri-series, and then come back and do 2 more test matches. It's a very, very difficult place to tour if you've got no experience of Australia.
Yeah, I think it was more of a mental thing. That's what I think, because the more you've become familiar with someone, the less unfamiliar and exotic they are. And I think Australia just became this mystery to us in the sort of 2000s.
Don't forget the IPL as well. That's obviously made a big difference, isn't it? There's a lot of Australian players out there and all that kind of stuff. Morning, Hasnat, salam and welcome, and thanks for watching. I don't know, guys. I think India do go to Australia quite a lot, and I feel like they perform a heck of a lot better there than we do. And they come play. I mean, even if you look back at 03-04, I think they drew a series 2-2 there. I think Australia were missing a few bowlers. Even in 09, you had that was the Monkey Gate tour. They won a test match. They almost chased I think in 13-14 was kind of Kohli's first tour there. They did pretty well. They lost, but they put up, I have to say, I don't like admitting this kind of stuff, but they put up a lot of a better fight than we do when we're out there. And obviously they've won their last 2. So they are, whether it's familiarity or what have you, they're winning. They are winning.
They've got Stark, they've got Cummins, they've got Smith playing with them in the IPL. And if you're bowling them to every day, A, demystifies them, and B, you can learn their game.
Yeah.
No, that makes it. Well, then hopefully, the bigger, if we're going to make the equivalent point, then I guess that something like the PSL is obviously going to help as time goes on, and more tours in Pakistan and playing teams or playing more test matches is going to help. Obviously, for the next couple of years, we're not playing in Australia or any of those kind of difficult away conditions. We've got a lot of cricket in the subcontinent and in the Caribbean as well.
To be honest, playing Sri Lanka, playing Bangladesh, and to a degree playing in the Caribbean, doesn't excite me because it doesn't tend to be electric cricket anymore, does it? The Caribbean wickets are not very exciting. Very attritional cricket, generally speaking.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia is where you want to be playing your cricket, because that's where it's a true test of Pakistan, where playing Sri Lanka, playing Bangladesh, and playing West Indies isn't really a challenge for us. Their games we're expected to win.
The thing that surprised me, if you watch that India Australia series, because I didn't watch it until it was all over, and then I thought, let's have a look. Is this India team any good? Let's look at the bowlers especially. And other than Mohammed, what's his name, Siraj,
Siraj,
he looked okay. He looked quite good. Although, I know you should. Being Pakistani, the first thing you look at is the pace. But it's even Siraj, he was bowling about 135, so about the same pace that Hassan Ali bowls at. But he's tall, so that helps, I suppose. And he bowled good lines. But all the rest of them, the seamers, they were rubbish. Like
But
they had
then
they had good control, but they weren't special. They had a left armer who's bowling at 128, 129. Can't remember his name now. They had Shardul Thakur, who's basically Praveen Kumar, 130 mile an hour outswingers, and you're just like, how are the Aussies getting out to this?
because Australia had old Lasagna and Smith batting, and Smith wasn't on the best of form. And then you had Warner, who wasn't fully fit. You had a variety of openers. I mean, Pawlowski made 70 and he was dropped 4 times. And then you had Travis Head, Wade, the Green, the all-rounder, who didn't take a wicket and didn't look a particularly great batsman. Tim Payne, who's never made a test century. And that was it. There wasn't a lot of batting around the 2 superstars.
Didn't we play that similar Australia team 2 years before, and they were racking up 600 for 3? And we went with gentle 130k Musa and Naseem was there.
That's the thing that was racking my brains. I was like, what was going on? Because this wasn't. If you ask me, this wasn't like you think back to.
Boundary, by the way, guys. We're sorry to interrupt, Hamza, but 10 overs, 47 for 1. Hassan's 5 overs have gone none for 31.
Rubbish.
Would it be sacrilegious to say that Vakar Yunus was a superstar? There's no doubt in it, but there's nothing to suggest that if you were a great bowler, that you're going to make a brilliant coach, and nothing in his coaching has suggested that he's added value to our team. People, when Azhar Mahmood was coach, I think our bowlers showed an improvement, but Azhar wasn't, respected by many Pakistanis because he wasn't seen as a superstar. Where Vakar Yunus is, 300 wickets, he's a name, and people were happy to see him picked as bowling coach, but he's not really added any value.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's difficult to judge a coach. You can only I think the easiest thing to judge them by is statements that they make. And as I said, when he was the head coach, I still appreciate him for identifying by name people with that report he made when he said people like Shazad and Umar Akmal, they're no good, they're not going to get you anywhere. So I understand what you're saying. But yeah, I would like us to take some foreign bowling coaches. I'd like to see sort of Jason Gillespie, someone like that, come to Pakistan.
Another boundary, 51 for 1. A comment about Hassan Ali being all over the place. It's not been a good start, has it?
It's been awful.
If you think how long it's going to take us to creep our way to 51, and yet South Africa, we're 49 minutes into this test match, 10 overs into it, 51 for 1.
It's the forever conundrum. You watch the opposition bat, and they look so comfortable. And when you watch your Pakistan bat, you're hiding behind the sofa, sticking your head out, going, "That was lucky. That was lucky." If we finish off talking about India, the thing they used Pujara as a rock. He batted sort of fairly shotless. He just blocked and held up an end, and just, if one of our players done that, how much criticism would be coming that he's tuk-tuking and he's not playing and he's blocking.
Yeah, but if you're winning, or if the team strategy works, then it's okay. But if your whole bloody team's batting like that,
No, but also he had. If you look at that final, oh, that's pretty bad from Shaheen. If you look at that last day in at the Gabba, sorry, he made it. I think he made as slow as 50, and yet they're chasing, or well, nominally chasing. You think 300 and something on the final day, 327, I think, or possibly more, and yet he made as slow as 50. But then he had the likes of Rishabh Pant around him, who I have to say I have been a bit scathing of. I didn't think Pant was all as quite as good as the hype would suggest. But
Rishabh Pant has been coached by Cameron Akmal, I think, because he'll make a few runs, but he'll drop an awful lot of catches.
He will, but then when those runs lead to a series winning chase of 300 plus on the final day, maybe you take the odd drop here and there.
Well, there'll be more than the odd drop. He's got like Teflon gloves.
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of his keeping, so I don't know.
How much of it do we think is mental? So I look at 2 of those games that they played. Well, look at 3 of the Test matches that they played. Okay, so in the first match they got bowled out for 36, and let's not beat around the bush. As Pakistan fans, we lapped that up. It was brilliant to watch, and you're thinking, right, this is another 4-0 coming. So does it not say a lot for their mental strength? And again, you compare that with Pakistan. If we had been bowled out for 36. Do we think we'd have been able to kind of come back in that second test?
That was the other thing I said. Like they you can see on the pitch, they're not afraid of the Aussies. They like give them jip and talk to them and all that kind of stuff. We're not like that. That's what I mean. Like we've built up Australia so much that sort of touring there is like sort of trying to climb K2 or something. Whereas the Indians don't see it like that. They see it as an opportunity to seize and these players, we can blow them away, all that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of it is they have a settled team. They have a better batting lineup than ours. That's number one. So we've talked about their bowlers don't look all that. How they're taking all these wickets. Well, I know they got bowled out for 36, but their batting. I'd still have their batting over ours.
That 36 was a freak. If you look at some of the stats, here comes Fahim Ashraf now. So 11 overs in, and Fahim comes on for Hassan Ali. If you look at the stats, they basically every single bad decision they made in that 36 went to the keeper or slips. They made millions more mistakes in all of their other innings, and yet ended up getting 250, 300. So that 36 was, I guess, a bit of a freak. But still, it takes a lot mentally, doesn't it, to see that as a freak, which they did. And they said, you know what, this isn't us. And then they come back and win that next game. And also just in that not bad first up, that test at Sydney where I think there were 2 or 3 out overnight. They had to, bat out the whole day, and they only lost, I think, 3 or 4 wickets on that final day.
Thing I've noted from being on Twitter is that, from what I can see, the Indian media are quite supportive, whereas our media are always on the case. There's always an agenda. Drop him, pick him. He's our boy. He's our Karachi boy. He's our Lahore. The Shoaib Jats of this world, the Yahya Sainis, have always got an agenda. Their solution to everything is to pick someone else. It's not like, we've failed together. It's always some agenda. That the way to improve things is to drop someone, pick someone else, change the captain, change the coach. We don't have that kind of stability that someone can.
The word you're looking for is professionalism in the Pakistani media. There's absolutely no professionalism in Pakistani media. They're all vultures.
There's no guidelines. It's sensationalism. They'll shout and scream across the TV channel to get viewing numbers. But again, Ravi Shastri's had how long as coach?
Long time.
Yeah. So I know Mickey might be. Hamza doesn't agree with Mickey, but you've got to get a coach, be it home or abroad, and then give him a period of time. We can't do much worse than we're doing now, can we? So if you give a coach and you give him 5 years, we seem to give coaches from one World Cup to another, and we judge them on a World Cup performance.
But if you look at India, they've got. I'm not particularly close to the Indian team. I don't watch all their games or anything like that. But obviously, you try and watch whatever cricket's on. It does seem like their specialist batting, bowling, and fielding coaches do a lot. And Shastri is almost a bit of a almost the mental side of things, a bit of a kind of a cheerleader. They say he's a bit of a yes man for Kohli. But however they're doing it, whether it's Ravi Shastri or whether it's their specialist coaches.
Who are the specialists? Do you know who's the batting and bowling coach?
I think one of their coaches is a bloke called B. Arun, who you've never even heard of.
But does it matter?
Exactly. We see when we had Azhar, we were like, oh, he didn't do that much in tests. What does he know? Let's get a superstar. Let's get Vakar. Let's get Wasim. Yeah, they were great bowlers, but great bowlers do not necessarily make great coaches. We seem to be.
Vikram Rathore apparently is the Indian batting coach.
Vikram Rathore was an opener who came here in 90 or 90 whatever, and he was a walking wicket. He wasn't a good player or anything, but I mean we need names, and if we have a coach and he hasn't turned our bowlers into Del Steyn within about 3 weeks, we're like, well.
The bowling coach is Barrett Aaron.
Barrett Aaron is one, yeah.
Exactly. People who didn't might have had decent first class careers, but were not outstanding. Thingy. I mean, how much coaching has Vakar Yunus done outside of the Pakistan team? Has he?
Yeah, that's the other thing we were saying. Like, why don't these big guys? I'm glad that Mohammed Yusuf's gone and Saqlain have gone to the a cricket academy. Like, but why don't any of these big names go to one of the domestic teams?
Because Vakar lives in Australia, and for the money that they're going to earn there, is it really worth it?
Yeah. But I mean, like, Eunice or whatever. I totally disagreed with Eunice becoming the bowling batting coach. I was like, I'm sorry, you got to do at least a season or something somewhere else.
Yeah, but we
become the national bowling coach.
Yeah, we picked them because they were.
Sorry.
We picked them because they were good players. There's. How do you think it feels to be a coach in Pakistan, coaching one of the teams, but you weren't a superstar, and someone else comes in because he's performed well, he's now your coach.
Yeah, that's why the selection of Mohammed Wasim as the selector, I think, was quite good because he's done the rounds in domestic.
You can see Mushtaq as Saqlain because they've done the hard yards. They've gone around various teams and done a load of coaching. See Yunus or Vakar have done any coaching anywhere, have they?
No, this is the point that Halkastan was making in the last game as well. That obviously these coaches they don't get a gig anywhere else, and yet they keep coming back and coaching for Pakistan. The difficult thing about judging a coach is obviously we're not privy to the conversations that happen. I mean, in my kind of thoughts, we've got Nominally coming in now, left arm over, it's a decent first up delivery. So just he's probably going to get an over before drinks here. I guess it's difficult to know how well they communicate. So much of coaching is communication, isn't it? It's your ideas being transmitted to the player, and that's where when you look at how some of these players communicated with their teammates in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, and you saw the general chaos that was going on around then, and the oaths that were being taken against captains and the infighting and all of that kind of stuff. It does make you doubt whether they've got the communication skills, however talented they might be, whether they've got the communication skills to get their ideas across to a young player or a player who's struggling. And that's pure speculation because we don't know what those conversations are.
The foreign coaches, the ones who've been successful, Bob Warmer, Dev Watmore didn't have a particularly good team. Mickey Arthur have risen above the team politics and have come in no grace or favour. I would say that they don't carry any of the baggage of, it's almost a blessing in disguise that they don't speak. I think Bob spoke a little bit of Urdu or Punjabi, who can understand it because he was born in India. But generally speaking, they don't speak the language. So they rise above a lot of the stuff that gets said about them, and they can pick people. They would fly in for a series, just before a series, and coach the team and fly it. So they weren't tied down by all the politics that goes on in Pakistani cricket and all the lobbying and things.
Oh, big shout for LBW. Or we might have got. I think he might have got an inside edge on that, which is why we're probably not going to go for the review.
We probably are.
No, I think he's obviously I can't with the sound I couldn't hear, but possibly he got an edge on that. But actually, this has been a decent first 3 or 4 deliveries from Norman. He's been kind of on the money, making them play.
He looks like Zulfikar Chacha's youngest son.
He does, doesn't he? There's a lot of Zulfikar Babel about him.
He's got a bit more energy in his action, though.
The same haircut, though.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. This was honing in on the pads. Oh yeah, it's a big inside edge there. So, question coming through from Umar Hussain. Obviously, we're talking about kind of coaching in Pakistan cricket. Well, what do we think of the domestic structure that's been restructured? Personally, think it's good, but we're only going to start seeing the fruits after 5 to 10 years. I've just on that. It's interesting. I read a comment about Imran Khan was really wedded to this 6-team domestic thing because of the way he saw Australia play cricket. And now, obviously, India seem to be the best or one of the best teams in the world, and they've got 38 first-class teams. So, are we just gonna follow what we think is kind of whoever's doing the best at the time, or do we think 6 is a good number for the country the size of Pakistan?
6. If you think about it this way: how many good batting, bowling, and fielding coaches do we have in Pakistan? Not many. So if you have 20 teams, that's 20 batting coaches, 20 bowling coaches, 20 fielding coaches you've got to find. It's never going to happen. If you keep it down to 6, you limit the amount of coaches you need. And I think the comment from Omar's fine. I totally agree. Probably won't see the fruits for 5 or 10 years. That's if they don't change it.
If you read Imran's books, he said the problem was you had teams playing like Sui Gas North playing versus PIA. Who really cared? You had a load of teams that no one cared for. That it was departmental cricket that no one went to watch, and then you had loads of people playing cricket, just marking time. A bit like county cricket at one stage, where you had players that were in their late 30s, early 40s, who were never going to play Test cricket, who didn't really add anything to the game, but they were just making a living. And that was a problem with PIA and Sui Gas and railways. You had people playing cricket because it was better than working on the railways. The whole thing about the 6 or 7 team structure is that you concentrate the strength. I mean, even with cricket as it is, Balochistan are quite weak. And I'm not close follower. I'm saying Balochistan are quite a weak team, etc., etc. If you have 6 or 7 strong teams playing against each other, you have a better level of cricket. You know, it's how far. If you have 18 or 19 departmental teams, you sort of spread the talent, so the games aren't as intense. So there's a bigger.
Yeah, and let's not forget each of those teams have their second 11s as well. So you know, really, you've got your 6. You kind of make it 12, really, because obviously you've got that kind of pathway from the seconds to the first. So I agree. In theory, I think I agree. I agree definitely that in terms of the number of coaching and stuff, you don't want to spread yourself too thinly and just have average players playing against average players, performing well because they're playing against average players, and then when they play against top class players, when they get to the international stage, just kind of failing miserably. And I think that's what Imran wanted. He wanted that kind of to kind of get a good kind of group of strong domestic teams, so that it's the step up. I mean, I think he used to say that the difference. If you look at most Australians, they will say that the difference between first class cricket in the Shield and international cricket, sometimes the Sheffield Shield was harder to play in than some of their international matches. That was the kind of the difficulty in the difficulty of the level of the cricket there.
Yeah. By the way, I know Australia have just lost a Test series, but they're always going to be there or thereabouts in every tournament. So it's still the team. There's still always the team to beat. The domestic structure is and setup is second to none.
All right, so it's 57 for 1 at drinks. We're 13 overs into this game. Captain Nav, what are you saying to the team at drinks, and how are we turning this around? Because it's been South Africa's hour, hasn't it?
After using a few colourful words of Punjabi, I would remind my bowlers that we're playing a test match and not a 50-over game. And we've got to tighten up our lines. Maybe, try and play a bit of attritional cricket, get the run rate down, make them play a big shot.
I mean, that was the thing about Fahim, actually, just in his one over, he's just coming on to bowl again, is that actually his first over wasn't particularly threatening. He was low 80s, but he was kind of 5 balls out of 6 on the money and either being left and or being kind of, defended for none. So I guess maybe that's the thinking of having Fahim on. Norman looked like he was, again, bowling kind of pretty much kind of wicket to wicket, not giving it a lot of air from what I could see. But again, again, keeping the run rate down. So hopefully, if we can't pick up wickets, maybe we can create a bit of pressure by just keeping the runs down a little bit. That might be the theme of the next hour up until lunch. Ooh, Fahim catches the edge, but it drops well short.
So Hassan Ali's bowled 5 overs, 1 maiden, so 4 overs for 31.
But to be fair, hands up anyone who didn't have Hassan Ali in their team.
No,
That's not a criticism.
I'm just saying, yeah, no, I know.
It was just maybe it's opening day nerves or what have you.
Yeah, no, he's been poor. He's been poor. I thought Shaheen was a bit wayward at the start, but got it together pretty quickly. Actually, that was a decent opening spell from him. But again, Fahim is at least being treated with a little bit of respect by
in terms of fast bowling, we haven't really got a lot of other options, have we?
Well, like we said, if you look at this squad, it's only Harish Ralph and Darvish, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, but even outside of that,
yeah,
we're not blessed with people saying pick me, pick me, pick me.
No, and this is why, if you think of maybe Shaheen, Hassan Ali, possibly Fahim, Yasir Shah, and Sajid as an off spinner, you look at the ages of those players, that could be a 4/5 man attack that stays together for a few years. But obviously, you've got to perform. You don't just stay in the team if you don't play well. So, but at least there's some kind of potential for there to be. I don't count Naseem as someone who I see coming into the team and playing regularly for the next few years. I don't think he's done enough in his couple of years so far to merit that just yet.
We'll be back in a minute, lads.
Who do we see? I mean, for our Mispa's number is marked, isn't it? He's on the road to nowhere. He wins a series expected of him. He draws or loses a series. He's out of a job. So more than likely they're going to get rid of him because that's just the way Pakistan people are already lobbying. The Mian Dards and the Faisal Iqbals of the world will be lobbying, won't they, to get their own man in.
It's like I said in the last game though, that when you fear that your job is on the line, that can lead to some kind of quite defensive tactics because you think
it's always been the way that if you get a foreign coach, it's why couldn't we pick a Pakistani coach? What did I do? It's that kind of safari.
That's not. I don't think that's unique to Pakistan cricket. I mean, I was thinking about them. When you look at the England football manager, it goes from up and at Terry Venables to a bit of a deep thinker Glenn Hoddle to up and at Kevin Keegan to deep thinker foreigner Sven-Göran Eriksson to proper English Steve McLaren to disciplinarian Fabio Capello. So it kind of it goes this way because whenever you always want kind of the grass always seems like it's greener on the other side. We always want
we always as soon as we got a foreign coach, there's a massive lobbying against him. However, as well said, I disagreed with Mickey being sacked when he did because he picked players and he had ideas. He had Fahim and Shadab as these all rounders. What they didn't have in the bowling, they'd make up between them in the batting, etc., etc. A lot of the players playing this team, Hassan, Shadab, Fahim, which Shadab's not played, were the bowlers that he was looking at, and I think most people felt they were treated kind of fairly under him. There wasn't that kind of he's got an agenda against me.
No.
So I mean, eventually we're gonna have a look at a foreign coach. It's interesting to see who that foreign coach we go for is who's willing to come to Pakistan because that's going to be the thing. So you look around the PSL and saying the coaches are most likely to come from there, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess if you're looking at the next coach, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the likes of Kirsten and Andy Flower from a foreign point of view. In terms of domestic coaches, and I haven't seen a lot of names kind of linked to the job. Just looking at this field, are you watching on? Are you on the Sky Go or are you on the TV then?
I'm on the Sky Go at the moment. I will.
Okay, so I think we've got a slip and a short leg in for Norman. Obviously, it's first morning, 60 odd for one. Are we? Well, what do we make of this field? Can we have another man around the bat somewhere?
When you're 60 for one, you want to drive. You like they say, you want to give him the protection. It's his first Test match. Give him 3-4 overs to dry up the runs, get in a groove, relax himself, and then you put the pressure on.
But by then, is the batsman not? Is Van der? I mean, Van der Dussen's now faced 26 balls. Elgar's faced 47. We're into hour 2. I just feel like if you had someone in, you had a silly point or something like that. Just make him
pressure. Put a couple of men in
because it's only day one, and I don't think this pitch is playing too many tricks just yet. Yeah.
So what would the benefit of a closer fielder make if there's not playing any tricks yet?
Yeah, well, you get the other one. Yeah.
Looking at the cracks of this wicket, day 4, Maharaj. you can almost see it now, can't you?
Well, let's hope not. I mean, obviously, I think South Africa are looking pretty good here. I don't know. I just feel like a bit more pressure on men around the back. Give them something to think about. I mean, South Africa have been pretty poor in these kind of conditions, as we mentioned earlier, over the past few years. Just don't want to make it too easy for them and let them get kind of settled in. They've won the toss. They've had a good first hour. Before we know it, it'll be 200 for 2 at lunch. Tea, even. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to give Norman an over a 2 to just get his thinking. If we put men in close, he bowls a bad ball, goes for 2 or 3 fours, and then you've got a real big problem.
Yeah. Fahim back in, 63 for 1. His 2 overs have gone for 6. So from an economy point of view, he's been pretty on the money without looking particularly threatening. Hamza, I'll let you take this question from Umar. If you're ready, Hamza.
Go for it.
Yeah, so what about these foreign coaches getting more out of Pakistani players than Pakistani coaches?
It depends who the Pakistani coach is.
Well, look at the ones we've had over the years. What we've had Vogard head coach, we've had Misbah, we've had Miandad.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of picking a foreign coach just because they're foreign.
But are you a fan of picking a coach because he was a good player for us, one of our superstars, but has done no.
Oh, got him! Yes, come on.
Who's it? No one.
That was a really, really badly timed judge single to mid-off. I think there must have been some confusion. The camera wasn't on the batsman, but we've run him out. Van der Dussen run him out by a mile there.
They must have really screwed up to have given us a run out.
Oh, that's something. That was the plan. Clearly, that was the plan at drinks, wasn't it? I think they're just checking that the keeper knocked the bails off and not his hand or whatever.
Did any of you see the Joe Root run out?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, Joe Root's hit the ball. He's got to silly point. He's got to run, and the bloke's under.
I tell you what, I'm telling you now. There's going to be, if you on Twitter tonight, there's going to be so many images of the keeper and Van der Dussen kind of diving towards each other, as you'll see on the replay. That's quite funny because Van der Dussen's dropped his bat in the middle of the pitch as well. You'll see it on the replay in a second. There's going to be plenty of memes, I think, of that one. But that is a bonus, absolute bonus.
And well done to Rizwan getting up the wicket quickly.
But we've still not seen a shot of the batsman. There must have been some major confusion there. Oh, we needed that. 63 for 2.
Definitely needed that. You know who I liked though? Remember Jeff Lawson? He had some unfinished business. I don't know what happened. He was around for about a year, and I liked his personality. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes and all that, but
I think they didn't pay him, didn't they? And then we had a change of board, and
yeah, the board changed and got rid of him basically.
Well, they were the Malikiers, weren't they? I think Malik was his captain. I don't think the results were particularly good, but equally, I don't think he had long enough probably in the job to really make it his team. I mean, you think back to, well, you think of kind of your stereotypical no-nonsense Aussie. There's obviously that pretty famous YouTube clip of him walking out of a press conference because he didn't like the questions weren't in English, everyone was talking at the same time. So he
he was anti-Afridi. Said to Afridi, "You won't make it to next World Cup," and that was mid 2000s, wasn't it? Afridi,
2007.
Yeah, 07, 08 kind of time.
Afridi was finished underneath him, and that might have had something to do with it.
So we've got Faf du Plessis in now, 63 for 2.
Suddenly, different complexion on the game.
Well, absolutely. And let's be honest, if you're South Africa, you're absolutely kicking yourself thinking it was 63 for 1. We've seen off the new ball, whatever the new ball was going to do. We've got a debutant and a non-threatening seamer on. You know, we're quids in here. And they've absolutely had. Now we've got Fahim on with 2 slips, short cover.
And we're fielding like a team of 11 Jonty Rhodes.
So, Van der Dussen just hit it and run. Oh dear. Elgar was not interested at all.
But I mean, and we're fielding like a team of Jonty Rhodes.
I know, well, especially if you look at the dives even.
Divings.
And that run out was almost Jonty Rhodes Inzamam, like the massive dive and.
Yeah. Big cock up.
Oh, excellent fielding from Fawad. So this is the thing is I mean, with any team now, we've picked up a wicket unexpectedly. Now we're diving all over the place, and the energy levels seem a little bit kind of up as well.
It's funny how similar both these teams are. You know, we look at Pakistan's lineup and just lament because you just think, oh, you know, we used to have Yunus, Yusuf, Inzamam, 3, 4, 5. Now you look, if you're South Africa, you're like, oh, we used to have Smith, Amla, Callis, you know, De Villiers, Boucher. Wow.
They were. I mean, that was a great team. I think they went something like what 10 years without losing away or something.
Yeah, they were wicked for about 10 years, but they never won a World Cup, so everyone forgets about it.
No.
Just look at a runner. He done 3/4 of the way up. He came back and he sort of hesitated to put when he was dropping his bat. He might have actually made it.
So who are we blaming for that one? There was never a run there, was there?
No. Faf du Plessis only averages 41. I thought he was better than that.
Yeah,
60 matches, 41.
Had an easy couple of years, has he? Obviously, he's lost the captaincy, but he made 199, I think, against Sri Lanka in the Test series that they had down there.
Is that fluff his average?
Yeah. Good from Fahim. Sorry, I'm not just going to bang on about Fahim, but when you consider they're going at 5 and over, for him to go none for 7 off 3 is not bad. At least he's just brought an element of control, although obviously you want wickets rather than just control. Yeah, and good from Rizwan there as well to get up to the stumps, because the throw from Babar was obviously had missed. Obviously, it wasn't a direct hit, was it?
Alert, Pakistan seems to have some kind of plan for du Plessis. They've put a bloke sort of catching.
Yeah, that kind of short cover thing, isn't it?
Short cover.
Yeah, good. You know, get a man in. Sometimes you just want someone in the batsman's eye.
I'm liking these graphics. I feel like I'm playing some kind of cricket game on the PS4 or something. It's different, but it's nice. You'll come up on your streams and screens, but generally the layout. When you think of the PCB producing this and some of the stuff we've seen in the past with graphics that have been wrong or unreadable, I've been quite impressed with this presentation.
I think if you look at what we're getting now in high definition, you realise how poor or how grainy the old non-high definition stuff used to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, in the domestic game, the Guardia, I don't know if they've changed it for the National Cup. I can't remember. In the Guardian Trophy, it was really irritating. You couldn't tell who was batting by just looking at the graphics, because they'd have like Punjab playing, Southern Punjab versus Balochistan, and it's 400 for 3 or whatever. Yeah, okay, who's 400 for 3? You couldn't tell. It's so irritating. You have to figure it out by the players.
Yeah, no. This is a bit of an upgrade on that, isn't it?
Who's got work today then?
Yeah, I have. So I'm heading off at lunch in the cricket, which will be 7 o'clock to get ready for another day of general practice. So yes, I'm working, Hamza.
Yeah, but working from home, so yeah,
So I've
7:30.
got
Got to
the
drop
next
my
3 days
daughter
off,
off
though,
to
which is good.
nursery.
So, sorry, Hamza. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, just 7:30. I got to drop my daughter off, so perfect time.
What about you, Nav?
The shops are all shut. I'm a man.
I know I mentioned that having another man in might have been an idea, but actually they just showed a slightly wider shot of the field there. There's not a single anywhere for Duplessis, which is good. Obviously, a new man in, spinner on. But if you compare it to, I don't know if anyone watched the fifth day of or fourth day, sorry, of the Sri Lanka England game yesterday. But Chandimal's captaincy, you're defending 140, it's 160 yards, 164. And the singles that they gave was just unbelievable. It's one of some of the worst captaincy I've seen for a long time. No pressure on any of the batsmen.
Considering it was a spinning wicket, and they've got decent spinners, I was surprised by how easily England made the runs. I only watched a little bit of it at the start. Pakistan would be 164. We've got 2 or 3 early wickets. We would have won that by 70 or 80 runs. Do you remember 2012? There were a couple of test matches where they were 120, 130, and we bowled them out for 74.
Yeah.
There was no kind of ability to put pressure. Because I thought Sibley was get outable, and they'd got another wicket or two, they would have won that game.
Yeah, I heard Nas and Athers were criticising the captaincy, but I didn't listen in. I just saw the video. So what he had the field too spread, basically.
Yeah, and their batting. I mean, what they were thinking, I don't know.
Madness, absolute madness. All you've got to do, all they had to do on that pitch, because it
was only going to get worse.
Yeah, no, it was only going to get worse. All they had to do was bat for 2.5 sessions, and get to 200, which is not that difficult. Or even bat into day 5 if you're worried about time being taken out of the game. I don't think there'd have been a difficult bowling England out in less than a day. But the way they went about it, the way Chandimal lost his wicket, the way Pereira I think lost his wicket as well. In fact, it was only Embledinier at the end who I think got a 30 odd that pushed their lead anywhere close to 160. That was awful, really, really bad. I mean, that's the kind of, if we'd done that, we'd be pretty depressed about it.
We'd have investigations about the batting.
Well, I mean, and if you think really, they've only lost that series because of 2 batting collapses. They obviously collapsed on the first day of the first test. They were 100 and good delivery, nearly caught the edge. They were 130, 140 all out on the first day of that test match, and then obviously on the 4th day yesterday as well, just collapsing to 100 and 130 is just, you can't do that. You can't win test matches if you bat like that.
They were for many years a competitive test team with obviously Sangakkara and Jayawardene were very good players, and then they've had Muralitharan and Harath holding up the bowling end, and suddenly they've lost
Chaminda Vas as well.
Yeah, but they had 4 or 5 decent players. You've taken them out, and you thought Chandimal and Fernando would come up. But they've really that. What was that?
No, he didn't. Again, they're just showing a little package now on my screen of our fielding today. It's been pretty good.
They've gone backwards. And Sri Lanka, they've regressed to, fairly toothless with a ball unless it's spinning, and they can't even bat anymore.
Well, I think
they had that was the golden era though, late 90s, mid to late 90s up to 2015, 16, and so that's a 20-year period. That's generally how like a golden period lasts, about 15 years, something like that. So they've done all right for a little island. I think they're back to basically what you'd expect a little island to produce: competitive but not great. They're not rubbish, but they're not great. So
I think similar to us, if you think of Misbah Yunus, obviously they lost Jayawardene and Sangakkara. I think they probably by now they expected Chandimal and Angelo Matthews or someone like that to be their next 2, the absolute batting stalwarts. Possibly Vishka Fernando's a really good young batsman as well, who I'm sure we'll hear more about in the next few years. And obviously those two, they just haven't done that. And then of course you think of someone like Ajantha Mendis as well, who came on the scene and was just unplayable for a couple of years, and then got totally worked out, and we just haven't heard from him again. But obviously
he retired. He retired about 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you thought he was going to be someone who ends up with hundreds and hundreds of international wickets.
He absolutely destroyed India this first Test match, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pakistan dealt with him in the 2009 World Cup, didn't they? We played him as a medium pacer.
A seamer, essentially. Yeah. So another wicket in the next 30 minutes, says Imin, will take the session. I mean, I think when you win the toss and bat, they're 65 for 2. There's half an hour till lunch. I think when you win the toss and bat, you don't mind losing a couple in the first session because you know that can happen and the ball can do stuff. I think, any more than 2, and I think it is our session. What do you reckon?
What did Boycott say? Our wicket column and see how it looks.
Yeah, well, then that would very much be in our favour, doesn't it? But the thing that it's not all about run rates. Obviously, it's 5-day cricket. But the thing that I like is that we've just got an element of control back, because I think in that first hour we were threatening just to lose total control of the session, and it doesn't take long to then lose control of a day in a Test match, especially in a 2-Test series. We just mentioned Sri Lanka. They managed to lose their series, they managed to get into a position where they couldn't win that series after day one. Being bowled out for 130 on day one of the first Test, you can't win the series because it's only a 2-Test series. And this is the thing with these 2-Test series, you have to start well.
I mean, you've got Alga and Duplessis, and you've got de Kock. So the next 2 wickets, once you're into Bavuma and the all-rounders, you get 2 more wickets, and you can see the other 7 or 8 going quite quickly.
If you look at, I don't know if Hamza, obviously you've been watching a lot of the domestic stuff. I had a look at these scores for Sindh and in their Sindh games at Karachi over the past few weeks and past couple of months. And it seems like the first innings scores are kind of coming down. They were kind of started at 400, 300, as it were, and now we're kind of into the 250s and 300s. Based on what you've seen from this pitch, how many are we kind of happy with South Africa getting?
I think if we get them out for 300, we should be okay with that. I don't think it's not a bad pitch. I think it doesn't deteriorate as much as sort of like Indian pitches. Pakistani pitches don't really do that. We don't produce dust bowls like sort of the stereotypical Indian pitches.
When is the best time of year to play cricket? But where is our peak cricket season?
Don't know, when is it?
Wrong.
I don't know. That's a question I'm asking you, because I remember many years ago Imran refusing to play against Australia because we played him in September, and he said it was too hot. When is the best time? Because I know with Pakistan, light always becomes an issue as well, doesn't it? Later on in the day, fog in the mornings. We've had no fog. How many overs are we going to lose to bad light in the evening?
If anyone fancies in the comments,
I mean, when is the optimal to over Test cricket? Because in England we've got June, July, August. So I mean, Pakistan, we played Test cricket in September, and we've played it in April. So do we have a longer season, or is there an optimal time to be playing?
It's a good shot from Duplessis, just transferring a bit of the pressure back on Norman. He's probably a bit short there. He just kind of rocked back and played that away for 4. So we're up to 70 for 2 now. I just kind of stepped into the shot.
You've got your 2 close men in now.
And he's responded with hitting a boundary, and I wonder what that will do to the field, if anything at all.
I mean, just adding Hassan Ali, he hasn't bowled particularly well, but he's a decent fielder as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good fielder. That's right as well.
We've got, mid offer up, slip, short leg, silly point. And the only thing I would say is, obviously I know he's just hit a boundary, but the last shot, obviously a bit of a risk hitting a boundary, and then he's just come down the track there and played one away. At least you're getting him thinking, doing something maybe slightly different, knowing that he's got men around the bat. I don't know. I've never been an international player, but I imagine it would, having 2-3 guys around the bat would make me do stuff maybe I wouldn't normally do.
Because there'll be a bit of chirp as well, won't they?
Surprised they haven't bowled Jesse yet.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. I guess with Fahim, keep mentioning the word control. Maybe they were just looking for a little bit of control from one end, and seeing how much spin the track will take from the other. But yeah, maybe not long before we see the two spinners in combination. I personally would probably leave these two on for a little bit longer, maybe the next 15-20 minutes. Give Yasted an over or two before lunch and see where we get to.
When's lunch? Half an hour?
Yeah, 7 o'clock our time.
Just looks like a good batting pitch right now.
Went to Pakistan bat, then I'll tell you.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing Imran Butt bat. See how good he is.
Let's be fair. I mean, these are relative. Looking at what the pitch is doing or not doing so far, it's relatively ideal conditions to be making a debut in home. Home conditions against a team that traditionally doesn't do too well out here or out in the subcontinent. Decent.
My observation is, you go to the subcontinent, you go out to Sri Lanka, it can be hot and humid, or you can be in a dust bowl in somewhere in South India. But Karachi in late January is about 21 degrees. It's not very subcontinental, is it? That was the basis for my question. That when is the best time to play? When is the best weather? But if you're a foreign team, you'd want to be in Pakistan in January as opposed to September or May, isn't it?
Imran Butt's last 3 first-class matches have all been in Karachi. 53, 3, 92, 32, duck, 11.
I mean, it's not very challenging. 21 or 22 degrees is not going to cause them as much of a challenge as it would be playing 34 degrees and no wind. Straying
onto the pads there, that was a really poor delivery. First ball of the over, all the pressure's off boundary for du Plessis. That was not a particularly clever piece of bowling there.
Who's that they've shown? Which player's that?
Who? What do you mean?
They just had a screenshot of focus on a player, haven't they?
Not on my stream, they haven't. I might have just missed that.
Yeah, the scoring rate's too high. Well, taking 2 wickets, that's all right, but they're scoring too quickly. 72 already.
Yeah, and that goes back to the first, the first hour, the first 45 minutes, I guess, that Hassan Ali was bowling. 5 overs for 30. If that's 5 overs for 15 or whatever, then the scorecard looks a little bit different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, have you been to, you think of kind of Pakistan, South Africa games, have you been to any that we've had in this country or abroad?
Pakistan, South Africa. 2009 T20 semi-final.
That's a great match.
That was. I mean, it was a strange game because we didn't really make enough. We did 145 for 3 or 4, something like that. We didn't. 2020's changed as well.
That's when Freedy gave the kiss to Callis, wasn't it?
The thing with that, we didn't make a massive score. We should 149, I think 145. We didn't.
We should have got a lot more. We went about a run a ball in the last 5 overs, which is
but then the reason we won that game is Callis came in and just blocked up an end.
Yes, yeah.
That was a good game, and then obviously last year the
Lord's game,
Lord's, which was it was a party. The pressure was off.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
one thing I remember about
Not in that one. Now the pressure wasn't off in that one. Maybe the Bangladesh game, the pressure was off. South Africa game.
The pressure was off. We had to win everything to have stand any chance.
Yeah,
we won it with relatively ease. We got, Harris played the innings of a lifetime for him. Harris and Barbara, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then we bowled really well as well.
Ahmed and Shaheen bowled really well that day.
And the thing was, if we'd lost to South Africa, he was going, that World Cup of South Africa can't be this bad. They can't be this bad. They can't be this bad. And even if they'd beaten us, it would have been no surprise. And it was just.
Yeah, they were pretty poor in that World Cup, weren't they? From that first game where they lost quite comfortably to England in the first game.
Yeah.
Then I think they lost to India as well. I think fairly soon after. It wasn't a particularly. And I think they lost to. Did they lose to Bangladesh? I think they might have lost or nearly lost to Bangladesh. I think they did to Bangladesh. They were chasing something on a weekend game. That's it. They did lose.
Yeah, and it was a strange South Africa performance, the whole thing. But we know for Pakistan, even if they play badly, they can't play. They're going to suddenly get it all together and absolutely smash us, and they didn't. And it was a really good day.
I think I still remember about that 2009 one against South Africa. In the second innings, we totally had them pinned down, and for some reason, out of nowhere, Misbah brought on Fawad Alam, and I was just I just knew what was going to happen. And Callis tonked him for a couple of sixes, and I was thinking, have I just worked this out wrong? Did we need to bowl for Fawad or something? And it was total madness. It was typical Pakistani madness.
Yeah, but
everything is going right. You do not need to bring a sixth bowler on. He, for some reason, brings on Fawad and he gets tonked. But then Fawad gets Callis somehow as well. Callis tonks him in the air. I still remember, if you watch that Callis wicket, he smashes it up in the air. The whole crowd goes quiet.
Absolutely, Hamza.
That's one of the greatest.
Hamza,
acoustic moments in this script. The crowd goes quiet and Malik takes the catch. It was amazing.
Misbah wasn't played.
Yunus, the captain.
It's Yunus. Yeah, sorry, it was Yunus. Yeah, total madness. I was like, what the hell is going on?
It's so funny. It's so funny, Hamza, that you point that out because I'm sure we all kind of go down YouTube rabbit holes watching old Pakistan games from the years. And whenever I watch that semi-final against South Africa, I watch that Callis wicket, and I'm really glad that someone else has noticed as well. The hush when that ball is in the. I've never heard a hush like that in a cricket match. When the ball is up in the air and the explosion of noise because we hadn't picked up a wicket, although we'd
blocked them up.
Yeah, we blocked them up, but we hadn't taken a wicket for a while. The noise when that catch was taken by Malik, I think. Yeah,
Malik took it.
And there was a run out at the very end, wasn't there? A really good run out as well.
Yeah, from the deep Fawad, I think.
Yeah, and there was Afridi got De Villiers and another one with a couple of
straight one.
Was it Gibbs?
No, Afridi got De Villiers.
He got
two.
Yeah, he got a cut. No, I'm just saying. Yeah, the De Villiers wicket tried to cut him and chop it on.
I wasn't going to that game, and I went into work, and someone said, "Oh, we've got a couple of spare tickets." Took the tickets. Yeah, okay, we're off. Got in the car and drove to Nottingham as you do.
Yeah, that was a great match. I loved that. I enjoyed that more than the final, actually.
It was absolute madness outside the ground afterwards.
You can't. The Lords never has an atmosphere. It doesn't matter what it is. It never has an atmosphere.
Lords had that atmosphere for that final.
It wasn't like Oval. Oval was madness.
So having been to, unfortunately, that's a good shot from Elgar. He just walked down the wicket and taken him away for a boundary. Having been at the Lords final and the Oval final, you can't compare the two. And having watched the semi-final from the one that we're talking about in 2009, the semi-final in 2009 was, as far as I can see, the absolute best atmosphere. Lords always seems a little bit kind of
tea and crumpets, as Roy Keane used to say, prawn sandwiches.
Well, the prawn sandwiches, you just always have a lot more neutrals in, and it just and the neutrals can never be. They're never going to be as much noise. They're never going to make us be as emotionally invested in the game. If you're an England fan, you might have spent £100 to go to Lords for that one, but you're not really going to care if Pakistan beat Sri Lanka or vice versa.
Yeah.
And the Think about Pakistan getting to a final at Lords. By hook or crook, our boys get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, you can't beat Pakistan at the Oval. Pakistani fans at the Oval is always madness.
Because we can get tickets for that, generally speaking.
Just give us a sec, lads. I'll have it back in just a second.
We do have a phenomenal record at Lords as well, Hamza.
Yeah, I've just had I've always got a soft spot for the Oval. I don't know what it is. Some grounds they just have a
Right.
thing about atmosphere. They just get it right. I don't know.
We were unlucky in '82. Our first Test match win came at the Oval. We did all right in '82. We won. We drew in '87. We won in '92, I think. We won there in '96. We won there in 2016. We were unlucky in '05.
Should have won that. Probably would have won that game before all the Daryl nonsense.
We'd got. I went to day 1 and 4, and the thing was, we'd bowled about. Mohammed Asif had played well, and because they hadn't been fit all Test match, had they? Him and Rana Naveed had come back, and we'd knocked them out, and then we'd got to about our third or fourth set of openers, and Hafiz and Farad to put on 100, which was unheard of.
Yeah, I think we. Yeah, was that not the first Test that Asif played that summer?
Yeah, him and Rana Naveed.
Yeah. So it was kind of a very a glimpse of what could have been if maybe we'd had our fit attack the whole way through. Obviously, Shoaib I think played the one-day games afterwards, but I don't think he played any of the Test matches.
What is this? 06? What season? What is this? 06?
Yeah, 06. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with the Daryl hair and all that.
That's the one. So we got Hassan Ali back into the attack with a keeper, a kind of slip, and a gully. What's the remit here? Keep it tight for 18 minutes before lunch, or
he's got to try and keep it tight, basically.
What with Hassan Ali? Keep it tight with Hassan Ali.
Your opening bowler's got 31 in his first Test match back. You need to give him a couple of overs just to get his confidence back. Otherwise,
yeah, it might be a question of look, South Africa aren't going to take any risks. You would think in the 20 minutes before lunch, just bowl line and length, kind of bowl pretty straight. They're not going to take any risks. Your figures won't look so bad, and get a bit of confidence before lunch. I don't know if that's the thinking there. I don't think the ball's not going to do much for him at 21 overs now, is it?
Depends if he attacks. If you can bring Hassan Ali on, attack a bit. He's your opening bowler.
You don't want Hassan to have 9 overs for 50 or 60, because then you handicap yourself for the rest of the innings.
Well, if you're thinking the South Africans aren't going to attack.
Sorry?
If you're thinking the South Africans aren't going to attack this close to lunch, then bring your field up a bit. I mean, it's a good field. I'm looking at the field. He's got a lot of men in the ring, so that's good. You don't need to have loads of slips and stuff.
No, exactly. No, exactly. We're not. This is not Headingley, is it? So you got to think about where your wickets are going to be taken. These aren't. Now that the shine's gone off the new ball and the pitch isn't doing very much, you're more likely to be getting caught mid on, mid off kind of thing, aren't you?
Going back to another thing, Mitchell Stark didn't take a lot of wickets in the last 2 Test matches, didn't swing the ball, and I was reading somewhere that how much difference has it made that people could no longer apply saliva to the ball, and came back to Pakistan on reverse swing. How much difference will it make? That we can no longer apply anything to the ball.
Yeah, I don't get that. If you're all tested negative, why can't you put saliva on the ball? How does that make sense?
It doesn't, but that's where we are.
I'm sure that they must be adding saliva to the ball. That's just stupid.
I think it's a question of just being as safe as possible. Testing negative, yeah, okay, but then who knows who you're in contact with and what you're going to pick up in the time between testing negative and applying saliva on the ball and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
But Stark has not swung the ball. How much difference will that make to someone who works on swing that you can't apply the usual treatment to the ball?
Say again.
Get started on COVID anyway.
I'm just putting out there that Stark struggled to swing the ball. How much difference will it make to our bowlers that they can't treat the ball as they might normally have treated the ball?
Yeah, Stark's been a bit of an odd one.
See, that's an interesting fielding position where we've got Azhar. It's not a fielding position we usually have. It's almost as though we've got a plan.
Surely not.
A cunning plan.
Morning, Adam Khan. Thanks for joining. Oh, we didn't do predictions, did we? Maybe there weren't enough of us on at the time. We didn't do predictions.
But do you want to?
Should we do predictions now? Come on in. We've got 15 minutes till lunch. Let's see who gets it right. 82 for 2, 15 minutes from lunch. I reckon 96. No, 93 for 2.
90 for 2 for me. I reckon they're just going to block it out.
96 for 3.
Confidence. Think we'll get another wicket.
Big bad Yasser's on.
Big boy, yes, sir.
I think we might be having another guest coming soon.
I didn't realise Junaid Khan was his cousin.
Who?
Yasser Shah.
Oh, Junaid, the lefty.
Yeah.
Who is it? I didn't know that. Is that a loft? Is that a lofted room you're in, Nav?
Yeah.
Whose room is that?
My daughter's.
Oh, right. Well, you kicked her out.
She's at uni, so I've moved up here for
Right. What uni she at?
Cardiff.
Oh, nice.
So we drive past Swindon on the way there, way back. We pop round for samosa, but
nah, it's a charge.
Decent start from Yasser. He's got a slip and a short leg as well.
Yeah, it looks like we've only beaten South Africa 4 times in Test matches. How bad is that?
How many times have we played them, though?
26.
Well, have a look on the screen there, Nav. All the information's there.
Lost 15. Jesus.
I mean, a lot of them were in South Africa.
So now we've got. So has Yasser? Whose end does Yasser come on then? Remind me. We had.
Norman Ali.
Okay. So it's not spin from both ends.
No, because we've got Hassan on, haven't we?
Yeah.
Losing to South Africa, again, it's another place that you've got tour and tour, because I think one of the grounds is quite a long way above sea level, isn't it? And the ball bounces and carries different.
Oh, I mean, the Wanderers, it's you get everyone's pace seems to be up because the ball just kind of flies through, doesn't it? That's where. Well, to be fair, the Wanderers is where we won a one-day game on our last tour. There, didn't I'm trying to think who bowled really, really well. Someone took a lot of wickets for us in that game. It was the pink ODI on the last tour of South Africa. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell us if we can't remember.
By that time, I'd probably switched off because we were beaten so often.
Morning, Owen. Yeah, very poor record against South Africa. And a lot of these losses have come. Yeah, I mean, there was the tour and we lost there. We just seem to lose 3-0 pretty much every time.
That's the problem going on tour. If you get into a rut and start losing, our boys' heads drop quite quickly.
Yeah, so since 2000, I'm trying to think of the big boys, as it were, that we have beaten.
Big Noble.
We've beaten. Obviously, we've beaten Australia at home a couple of times. Could be another run out. No, he's okay. The throw from someone, Baba, almost took out the non-striker. You'll see that on your streams in a second. Obviously, we beat India in 06, but I guess away from home has been pretty poor as well, hasn't it?
Who have we played? So we've been poor against Australia. Well, we've been poor against Thingy. We've beat the West Indies. We've done all right.
I mean, no, we smacked Australia at home.
Yeah, we beat Australia at home. We beat.
No, that's not fair. It's just basically our away record against South Africa and Australia is embarrassing.
I mean, we would have tonked India if we played them.
Yeah, in those days when we had Misbah and Yunus in the middle, Ajmal.
Well, let's not forget, no, but New Zealand beat us in the last series at home.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, people talk, going for the tangent, how good the player Tendulkar was, blah blah blah. How many Test matches did he actually play against Pakistan with Wasim and Vakar at their peak? Seem to have avoided us.
So Ulman makes a point about it being away from home. I guess I don't think it's an excuse, and in fact, I hate this excuse, so I'm not going to use it. But I will mention that some people will say that everyone's bad away from home. But I don't think just because everyone's bad away from home that it gives us an excuse to say, oh, it's okay because everyone loses away from home. I mean, you compare yourself to the gold standard. Don't compare yourself to teams that
a lot of our players come over and play league cricket. So we do it in England. We go to Australia or South Africa, as places we have never ever been before, and it used to be that you'd have, a tour would be 3 months. We go there for 6 weeks. Test match, one warm up, test match, test match, test match. You don't really get a lot of chance to learn the conditions.
Imran, what team are you supporting?
Imran, are we just going to be commentary with your dad?
To me? Huh?
Morning, Amy. How are you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Bit echoey, but.
Do you know what?
I was hoping getting his dad on as well.
No, I've got this spare laptop today because the kids are going to be doing homeschooling. For the last 10 minutes, I've been trying to get the Bluetooth headphones on and I can't do it. So if you give me a minute, what I'll do is I'll mute the TV completely. That might just help.
That's a better over from Hassanali there. Maiden.
I mean, we want your dad and his Punjabi commentary.
No, he's downstairs. I've hijacked the room. No, I can't see you.
Yeah, no, you can't see your face. You can see your forehead. There we go, that's better.
Yes, yeah.
So what, we were about 8 minutes away from lunch. Yastad and Hassan earlier. I would have liked to see spin from both ends. It's not that the ball's spitting or doing anything like that, but just generally South Africans, I feel a little bit less confident against spin.
A wicket here and it's our session.
The Dean Elgar's got to 41 without us even noticing.
Yeah, he played he was, from what I remember anyway, it was only an hour ago, wasn't it? But he played a few lovely drives off Hassanali. But yeah, we've kind of tied him down since a little bit. But he's a nuggety kind of player. He's very not easy to get out. Like I say, I mean they're a tough team, these South Africans. If not, they might not come here and score at 4-5 and over, although they were this morning. But I think they're going to be a real challenge in this series. I don't think it's going to be as easy as, I'm not saying any of you lot, but some people have said that home conditions will win this 2-0. South Africa are there for the taking. I disagree totally with that. I think this is going to be a real tough series.
I don't know Africa, but I was reading about the demographics the other week. Their population and how many their batsmen seem to come from that kind of white public school kind of background. How many people to pick from? They do really well to get a team together, really, don't they? Of that.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before. They've got so many challenges from a transformation point of view, from a board point of view, where they've got so many shady characters. I mean, they've changed their the structure of their board so many times in the past kind of couple of years. That's why I've said before, I quite like South Africa. Just as a neutral, I'd always want South Africa to beat the likes of England, Australia, India, because it's so much more difficult for them to put a competitive team out, as you say. So yeah, it's good that the considering to looking at the amount of the domination they've had over some teams over the years. That period from 05 to 15 probably doesn't get enough recognition for being one of the very good, if not great, cricket teams of modern times.
Yes, it's because they didn't win the World Cup. That's what we said earlier. That's all it is. They had 10 years of high quality Test cricket. They just didn't win a World Cup, so people forget it.
Who can forget '99? And we should have won that game. We batted all right. Then bloody Lance, bloody Klusner.
I was mentioned it on the preview show or whatever we had a couple of weeks ago. We had them 50 odd for 5 chasing, I think about 230 odd. I think that game was at Headingley, but I could be wrong. It could be Trent Bridge actually. And yeah, we should have won that. We should have won that game. In the end, it didn't matter because we still got, I think it didn't affect our going through to. We still went through to the semi, I think, as the top.
That was that rubbish Super 6 stuff, wasn't it?
It was rubbish, but it worked in our favour because we carried forward points, and it meant that we could have quite a bad Super 6 and lose to India and South Africa. But the points we carried through with us, plus a win against Zimbabwe, was enough to get us through to the semi. So it kind of helped us, but it wasn't this whole points carrying forward thing. I'm not a big fan of, to be honest.
There's been 3 or 4 tosses that Pakistan have won, and we've made really stupid decisions. And 99, I don't know why Wasim chose to bat first. Well, basically, I know because we weren't good chasers, but it rained the night before. It was overcast. We should have always bowled there. 2004 Champions semi-final, the Rose Bowl against West Indies. We chose to bat when we should have bowled, and against England, where it was should have bowled.
There's some very heavy breathing coming through. I don't know who that is.
Might be me. Sorry.
That's all right. So there's a mention about the hockey team in the UK for the Commonwealth Games. Are we going to do anything for that? I don't know. We'll have to think about that one. I think I'm not sure who our hockey experts are. If you think we barely get our cricket knowledge out, let alone hockey, so that might be a bit of a tough one.
I'd quite happily go to the hockey if we stood any chance of winning, but we've been basically the boards have changed the game of field hockey so much into a game that we can't. They've basically Australia, Germany, Netherlands, Great Britain dominate the world game because they've changed the rules. It used to be field hockey played on grass, so they changed it to AstroTurf. You used to have things like, used to have hits and things, lots of dribbling, but they've changed it to a power game and you can pass to yourself and all sorts. And it's become more and more a game of stamina and power as opposed to skill, which favours the likes of the Western teams as opposed to teams like Pakistan.
So just back on the game, Hassan Ali, I think his first 5 overs went for 31, didn't they? So I make that he's given away 4 runs in the next 2.5 overs. So we mentioned about 15 minutes ago about him coming on and offering a little bit of control, and that seems like it's exactly what he's done, which is good. Hopefully this will give him a bit of confidence going into lunch, and then we might see a different bowler in the afternoon session.
We've just got for a boundary on my screen.
Yeah, I think we've got coming up after that.
It felt like, it's very unlike Hassan to have nerves. It was just like a proper comeback sort of thing. Started very poorly. A lot of balls were overpitched. Quite a few half volleys, and then come back reasonably well without looking threatening. But then, there's nothing happening, is there? It's hardly any movement. The ball's not spinning. There's hardly anything there.
So why are we producing wickets like this?
Because our bowlers, our batsmen don't get blown away.
That's the fear now, right now. The fear I've got straight away after watching probably an hour of the game first thing this morning was that on a pitch like this, if you lose a toss and you end up batting last, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because chasing, even if you're chasing 150, it'll be hard.
Yeah, I think probably is what's likely to happen is that if you look at, and that's lunch, by the way, that's lunch at 94 for 2.
What time was we back? 7:40.
No, I think Amy, you're staying.
7:40, same link. I'll keep going until then.
Right, I'm gonna leave. I'll see you back then. Yeah.
Yeah, and I might see your face as well. Yeah, that's so. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. That's my fear now. Is that if they post a big score in this innings, we have to bat really well in our first innings because batting last one's easy at all. It's already keeping low, and it'll probably start spinning.
It's a good toss to win, wasn't it? And I think South Africa. I think our first innings and probably South Africa's second innings might be kind of similar scores. It depends upon whether we can then in the final innings get chase something like a 200 or a 230 or whatever. Which, to be honest, you wouldn't fancy us doing. But look, there's obviously still a lot of time left on in this day. I would say probably though, given that one of the wickets was a run out, given that the ball isn't doing a huge amount, and given that we haven't looked particularly threatening, even though it's 94 for 2 and we've got 2 wickets, I'd probably say that's South Africa's session.
Yeah,
they'd be happy with this.
I mean, both our wickets. I mean, the first one a fantastic catch, and the second one a run out. So contrast to like the New Zealand series, we actually worked for actually got on with good fielding, which makes a nice change.
So, Amy, who is coming on next then? Who we got next on the watch along for the next couple of hours?
We've got Atif Nawaz coming on.
When is that?
Well, he's going to join us midway through lunch, and we'll for the second session as well. So we'll talk about the game plus his experiences, and I think Hamza will be returning some point in the afternoon session, and I think I've got Umar for a bit as well. So
perfect.
So yeah, so there might be a period where I'm muttering to myself, but that's a different case.
No change there then. I am going to head off, guys, because I've got work to go to. So yeah, good to see you, and I'm sure we'll catch up later on during the game.
All right, see you in a bit.
Thank you.
Later.
Yeah, mate. What do you think of the starting 11 then? Would you have picked the same one?
No, I think Sajid for me would have played. He averages around 20 at the NSK compared to 57 that Noman has averaged this season. So they've gone with the bowler that's averaged the higher at the ground, and I wouldn't have played for him. But they've gone with that option where they've decided that they want to go with 3 seamers. It remains to be seen how well that goes. But there we are.
Yeah, 94 for 2. Yeah, I think the South Africans are satisfied with that. I think they'll be alright with that.
No, they would have taken 94 for 2 in the first session.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, we had about a couple of edges. I think Hassan took an edge as well for a short. Shaheen had another edge that's fallen short, but that just says that the slip have come up. Even Imran Butt's catch that wasn't carrying the first slip. So if he didn't go across, that wasn't happening.
Yeah, that was a stunning catch.
That wasn't happening at all. So let's see. And now Rizwan's run out. I don't know because I was watching you guys and I was going away, and then I was watching you. I don't know if it was mentioned, but the way he run in was incredible. He sensed it. A lot of keepers would just stay back and just said, "Okay, it's all of a direct hit." But he sensed it. He's come forward. He's gathered the ball and he's sort of worked the run out. So incredible keeping there.
He's my
Yeah,
boy. Everyone knows Rizwan's my boy.
So it's going to be an interesting second session. I think. What do you think for the second session for us to be back into the game?
I think
Well,
we need to
also
spin.
we're out of the game. I mean, like basically be in the game, sort of thing.
I want to see how Shaheen's second bowling session goes. He bowled alright with the new ball, as he usually does. Gets a bit of away movement from the left-handers. So let's see how he does. Hassan sort of came back well, but we will need a 3D to sort of make a little breakthrough somewhere.
Yeah, I think.
Millman looks okay. You know, Yasser's only just come on, so we'll see. It's only day one for them.
We're what, 26, 27 overs in now. So coming up to say after the drinks break, it'd be interesting to see if the ball starts reversing. Yasser's only bowled an over or so. So again, Yasser's another person that we have to look at. He's the most experienced bowler in the team, anyhow, and he's under pressure.
Who, Yasser? Do you think Yasser's under pressure?
Yeah, I think just generally, because of the New Zealand series and a lot of criticism coming after that. So he'll have a point to prove.
Yeah. It was none of the spinners were going to do anything in New Zealand.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't hold that against him or Zafar.
This is one of the things I sort of miss. What I missed.
What?
Like basically when we used to be on Sony and ARY or whatever, lunch break happens, yeah, and they put on like Indian songs and whatever else. And
No analysis, nothing.
I've just gone to a documentary about Makani and Seven Simakam. So it's like a complete different world. It's a completely different world. So
I'm watching a different stream. So what are you watching it on? What stream?
I'm actually on Sky Sports Cricket live.
I'm watching on that Willow thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually on Sky Sports Cricket live. It's just you need to see the. I'm actually I'm in my little boys' room right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where's your little boy?
He's on my bed.
What is that you're sitting on?
It's a bed.
Oh, all right. Oh, you can sort of flatten it out. Okay.
No, it's just a very big headrest. It's a very big headrest. So he can sit up as well when he wants. It's my little boy's room.
Where is he then? Where is he then?
With his mum.
Okay.
I think the candy. I know you can sleep with your mum today. He's like, wow. It's been a long time. So
how old is he?
He's 8.
Okay.
So basically he's gone and he's actually sleeping with his mum, and I've taken over his room. And then what I did here, I took the TV up, the craziness I had to do. I unwall mounted it, and I brought it into this room. Now it's like sitting on the. I can actually watch it. But then, like, I was never watching it in my own room at 7 o'clock in the morning, or at 5 o'clock in the morning with the volume up, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, like, talking. All must say is we need to control the run rate and bag 2-3 wickets. I think 2 wickets is minimum. We need probably 3 in the next session, and you've got the 2 big ones right there and right now, Elgar and Faf.
Have you watched any of the Pakistan women's tour to South Africa?
No, I haven't.
Matches have been really close. The
I've
first two
seen
matches
the highlights afterwards, but I haven't seen
close.
the other ones.
Yeah, I think we lost the first one by like 12 runs. We lost the second one by like 6 runs.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't even know what channel they're on, but I've been really busy during the day, so homeschooling is hard.
Yeah, you got 3 kids in it.
Yeah, the older two. I mean, I don't even look at it. I don't need to know. But with Daniel, it's quite hard. I've got to sit there literally all day long and go through little things, teach him because they haven't got a teacher to like show them the stuff, and it gets set like yesterday. He had English, maths, science, reading, spelling, and PSHE to talk about relationships.
Yeah.
It's like so much.
So what do? They give you the lesson plans and stuff.
Yeah,
or
pretty
you have
much.
to do it?
We have one Zoom lesson. The rest of it is just basically they just upload the work and you've got to hand it. You got to do it, hand it in. So it's literally I'm on the laptop for like 5 hours with him. In between where he's running away and just getting bored, like I don't want to do this no
Yeah,
more.
I'm glad I don't have any school age kids through this. He's just like
It's hard
writing
to
off.
motivate him, and I can't blame him. A kid at 8 years old doesn't want to be at home on a laptop doing schoolwork. It's just not normal.
No. 'Cause they're at home. They just want to like watch TV or go out or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. What time are you shooting?
About 10 minutes.
That's fine.
Take my daughter to nursery. And I'll come back.
Thinking, it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping that Umar is on soon enough.
Was he going to join the second session? Yeah.
Only for a bit. Oh, I think he needs to leave by 8:30 because he's got work. So he's got work. Whoa! Someone's just added me to some WhatsApp group with 180 people.
What? Everyone can message.
Sorry?
Is it an admin only?
No. I
That's
looked at it just now. And there's about 50 comments there. Deleted myself because I don't know who they are. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's
yeah.
gonna be interesting. Think of Imran Butt, as in like the selection, apart from the catch.
It makes sense. I haven't actually seen him bat properly. You know, for someone who watches a lot of domestic cricket, I haven't seen much of him. Actually, his domestic record's not that special. I mean, it's all right. I think he averages 36, but I think it's in the last couple of seasons he's done better.
Yeah, there's another reason behind it as well. And there's like because he hardly played this season because he was in New Zealand with the team, and before this, our games never used to be live. So this is like the first proper season where first class cricket's just like had proper exposure.
Yeah.
So I mean, going like a couple of years down the line, we won't have these sort of issues saying, okay, I haven't seen this sort of player because there'll be a lot of at some point the guy would have been live, especially for the national team. He would have performed and we would have seen people play. So that actually helps the situation going forward. And with them having these games live, I was just thinking about it the other day. It actually helps us in the sense here that the selectors now, and whoever that is, I'm not just talking about Wasim Khan, but I'm just talking about any selector that comes through in the future. If the games are live on YouTube, etc., they've got nowhere to hide because they can't say this guy because everyone's watching the guy play. So there will be a lot more noise if there's a good player, and people shouldn't get ignored.
I remember, up until a couple of years ago, people, including me, were talking about Saddam Hussein. Do you remember Saddam Hussein?
Yep,
He
I
was
did.
taking so many wickets at like 18, 19, and people were like, is this guy actually any good? Because no one had actually seen him bowl.
That's the thing.
Obviously, at least now you can look at these guys.
Yeah. Again, like I think Saddam never got picked because of the pace side of it. I think.
Yeah, I don't.
There's a notion of
I saw a bit of him this season. I don't know if he's past it now or something. He looks average. Maybe he's just past it now, and his best years are gone.
When did he get picked for Pakistan?
He never got picked.
No,
he got
no.
picked in the squad once.
He went to a tour, didn't he, with Ricard Yunis as coach? 2011, I think it was. Straight after the World Cup to the West Indies. That was
he didn't play.
Afridi had the up and down with Ricard.
Yeah.
And he was at that tour. So that's what, 10 years ago now. So obviously, I mean, if you got picked 10 years ago and never got a game, I mean, he must be past it by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He never got a game. I think who did play that? Well, I think it was Smart Salahuddin played one game or two games, but it came out in like last over of the one dayers. And
he doesn't look all that anyway.
I think Sadif was the if I remember right, Sadif was the reason why them guys, Vakar and Afridi actually had the argument. Afridi wanted to play Sadif, and Vakar wasn't. Vakar wasn't keen. Vakar wanted to just go with his normal pace attack.
Yeah.
And that was fun. But that was in an ODI, so it was a format to what he was an expertise on.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think Pakistan is moving in the right direction with Wasim Khan?
100%.
100% he is.
Best thing that's happened at the PCB.
We'll bring that question out when Atif actually joins us in a bit. We'll bring that question out to him, and we'll see what Atif's got to say. Yeah, I've got no doubt in my head. Give him a lifetime contract.
Exactly. I tweeted it this last night. Give him a 25-year contract. Don't let him go.
Problem is, in Pakistan, the way it works is if the government ever changes,
that's it. Yeah.
We'll just be back to square one again.
God, imagine if that happened. The sort of rats that would be back in charge. God.
That is one of the issues. I mean, like whoever's going to be in government at the time is going to have their own people there.
Yeah, not to get too political, but you need Imran to run that country for about 20 years to fix that place.
We're getting breaking news here.
What's the breaking news?
Hulkistan just texted me. Atif is postponed to tomorrow. He has to sort out something for his parents. So Atif is going to be on tomorrow now.
Nice.
Now,
See if any of the boys.
This could be really hard in a bit.
Yeah, see if any of the boys are available. Jump on for a bit. What's Tabriz doing?
Tabriz at work.
He told me he's taking a couple of weeks off.
No idea. He said yesterday he's got work this morning. He had a couple of weeks off. That was like a couple of weeks ago, I think. But either way, I could be murmuring to myself. I could be murmuring to Navin a bit. But let's see.
Yeah, that catch by Imran, but I'm just watching it again. Something else.
Okay.
That's just all reflex. That is, as in you ain't got time to think. You just dive straight across for that first slip because that was not getting to Yasser.
Yeah.
Really good catch.
I don't know where my name's disappeared, so I'm going to re-enter it. So every time you log in with a new device, it gives you another issue.
Yeah, Umar says he'll be ready for 7:35.
Was that?
Umar said he'll be ready for 7:35.
That's fine.
It's fine because I've got to go in a couple of minutes.
That's fine. We'll just carry on going until then. I mean, it's nothing really happening at the moment because we're
Lunch, innit?
yeah. Well, there's no cricket at the moment. There's not much to talk about. Habib says Salam alaikum.
I think Nav will come on in a bit. I think Nav might come on in a bit.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we'll talk about Wasim Khan in this session as well. I think that'll be quite an interesting debate to have. Though I call it a debate, I don't think there'll be anyone who'll be sort of arguing a case for Wasim not to be there.
Bring back Ijaz, but
Yeah,
I got to go. I'll be back about 8:15. Yeah.
that's fine. No issues. See you in a bit. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Just to discuss on what you call it, Wasim Khan. I mean, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan, and I think he's moving our cricket in the right direction. He's moving it around, but these sort of results here take a while. It's one of them. Our cricket has been rotten, corruption to the core for what 50 years, 60 years, and then it takes, you're not going to sort it out in 12 months or 18 months. They've started to move it in the right direction, but it takes a while to sort out the cricket. And sometimes, if we keep going the way we are, and he stays there, and he's given a proper run, and he's given the allowance to do what he wants to do, we'll start seeing the results in about, I would say, 2 years more. So around 2023, we should start seeing the results, and we'll see more cricketers coming through as well. Because once cricketers are playing with more high quality cricketers, you would see better results. You definitely see better results. But it's going to take a while. It's going to take at least a couple of years, maybe longer. I mean, almost saying that it probably take 5 to 10 years. I mean, 10's probably stretching it, but yeah, 5 years. But you need to give him a free rein. You need to give him a free rein because otherwise it's just not going to work, is it? You're not going to get results. It's like asking to, basically say, just go back to like our school or college days. You got a project, and if you've got a project here that's gonna a 6 week project, you're not gonna. It's not gonna happen in what. You're not gonna finish it in a week and say, "Yeah, man, this is ready like perfectly." There's always gonna be a lot of work, adjustments, etc., and they're not gonna get it right the first time. A lot of people criticize a 6 team system. I think it's worked. I think it's definitely worked because the cricket they're playing, and it's not just 6 teams. There is 12 teams because they're playing first team cricket and second team cricket. So you've got the second 11s as well. So, but it gives the people in the second 11 a shall we say something to work on. So if you're in the second 11 and you're a youngster, especially, so you're a or 21, 22, even 20 up to 25-year-old in the second 11 perform, and you will get promoted to the first team. So there's definitely ways around it, but it's gonna take a while. Now, I'm a big fan, and I actually met Wasim Khan, I think, at Lords. I think the Bangladesh match at the World Cup. So we it was quite brief, but we had a discussion, and very humble guy as well. And for him to like thank us, not just the Stani Army, but just to thank general Pakistan cricket fans, he said like, you know what, you guys came out and you supported me. He goes, this is all we can ask from you guys to do. It was very humbling. But let's see how it pans. I mean, Pakistan cricket's a weird thing. You just don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes, let alone what's going to happen in 5, 7, 10 years time. We've got absolutely no clue. I'm saying what's going to happen in 10 minutes. Hopefully, like we sort of, well, nothing's going to happen in 10 minutes, but in the next hour, hopefully, pick up a couple of wickets and get ourselves firmly back in this game. So, guys, anyone that's watching, predictions for the second session, and where do you think Pakistan need top there? At T. At what point do they need to be at? Let's see. Hopefully, I should have guests coming soon. Just trying to work out what's going on. Just give me 2 seconds. I think Nav's just gone to just have some breakfast. So Nav should be on in the next 5 minutes. Normal Hamid, 187 for 5. Definitely take that. Definitely take that. I mean, that is that'd be ideal. 213 for 6. That's being a bit hopeful runs wise for T, but 6, well, definitely take that. Number 4 wickets. Anything between 2 and 3 wickets in the next session. Well, 2 is minimum, but 3 wickets really puts us back into the game. Maybe we have them around 205. Sorry, we have them around 200 for 5. It's it'd be great. Do you think Pakistan cricket has a stigma attached to it when pundits use the word unpredictable? You know what? I used to be one of the people that was in that sense, and I would use that word. But I think it's more insulting now. It's basically trying to say, you know what? Yes, you're just an unpredictable side. Or you can say you're a jammy, lucky side. You just don't know which way it's going to go for you. Just play cricket without any sort of know-how. So it's just pop out. It works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I find it a little bit insulting. Sorry, guys. You know what? When you're by yourself, it is quite hard, especially at this time in the morning. So hopefully, I should have some guests coming in right soon. It's just because it's lunch. This is why it's happened like this. Have the bowlers who have come in been so far? I think Hassan was quite poor, at least for the first at least for the first 2 overs, sort of seemed to improve, especially like later on. But I expected more from Hassan. I'm not trying to say like you should be blowing them away or something, but Noman actually bowled reasonably well without much happening. But there was nothing much happening. There was nothing for the seamer. There's no sideways movement. The pitch is a bit low, and then there wasn't no sort of grip or turn for the spinners. Comments, and I think I've missed it. Let me just double see. When was the last time you and Pakistan were a top side in all formats? In T20 wasn't too long ago. We won 11 series in a row. But if you say as a collective unit, as all, it's been very, very long. You see, we've always had this inconsistency side to us. So I see where the unpredictability sort of tag comes from as well. It's one of them, yeah, where we could be. We've never been consistent. It's been a very, very long time where you could say like we were consistent in tests and in ODIs. And T20, seriously. So if you put all three into it, it's really like sort of put up in a date. But we've had our moments. Definitely, and definitely won't change it for the world. It's one of them, like, I won't change it for the world. Shazib, hoping to bring some good luck this session in the collapsing coming, inshallah. I mean, let's see. Not sure. I was watching the first one as well, but not on the stream. So I was watching. I would say 2005. You know what? That actually come into my head. There was a period around 2005 when we were quite consistent. That actually did come through my head, but then I thought, sorry guys, this is weird. I remember the test team, and I remember one days as well, but I just could not remember out of that England, like top of my head just now, the England Test series and going to the India ODIs. I just couldn't remember like away from that. It actually came to my head as we were discussing the most consistent sides, and that really does go back in 15 odd years. So let's see. Hudson has been poor. Fahim had some control. Yeah, Fahim actually, I think Fahim actually helped with that. And in the wicket, we'll talk about Rizwan, but some of that should go to Fahim because he was bowling some tight lines, and South Africa were looking to motor along. Seriously, I don't know. I really do apologize. I don't know what is going on right now. I think it's just been a moment. And the time, I mean, waking up at 5, I don't probably I slept until 2. So I've had 3 hours sleep. Late 80s to mid 90s, I would say Pakistan were at its most consistent. Yes, it probably was. That is really, really, really going back now. It really is. It just shows that we've never been a consistent side. It's we've had our moments. I mean, the best team I've seen in one-day cricket, for example, would be the '99 World Cup side. So around that period, not just the '99 side, but around that period, even going up to 2003. The World Cup we were atrocious, but just going around that period, so maybe from '97 to say 2003, that 5-year period were a very good one-day side, and in some ways we were well ahead of the rest of the world. even before that, 96, you can say. We were like literally well ahead of the rest of the world. Um, basically, we were.
Hello, Imran. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Nav. Yeah, just discussing something quickly. Uh, we were well ahead because with people like Razak, Afridi, Azim Mahmood, Wasim Akram, Saklin, Saeed and Amir Sahel, just discussing like we were just discussing our golden eras. I thought like maybe in ODI cricket that team mid 90s, 96 to say 2002 2003 it's probably our golden era one day cricket.
When was our golden era?
I would in one day cricket I'm talking about like the best team that we had. I would think that it was probably between that mid 90s to the early 2000s, where we had Razak, Afridi, Azim Mahmood, Wasim, Waqas, Shoaib, Saeed Anwar, Amir Sahel,
Yeah.
Jazz.
That team, yeah, I think memory makes us forget. I don't think there was ever a time where they all play. I mean, your ideal team at the time would be Amir, Said Anwar, Ijaz Ahmed, me and Dad. I think me and Dad had gone by then. Salim Malik, Salim Malik, Inzamam, Johanna, who came in about 99. So Amir Sahel had basically gone by then. Moin Khan, Rashid Latif, Azhar Mahmood, Abdur Razak, Wasim, Vakar, and Shoaib, and Saki.
Yeah. So just generally speaking, I mean, that's probably our best era as a team. I mean, wise anyhow, yeah. You knew you had game changers there, and that team was ahead of its time, especially in ODI cricket. It was well ahead of its time.
We took wickets.
And you know, now people talk about what's it called, Vidarana and Syria being the pioneers of one day cricket.
Mm.
It was saying that around as well. They actually took teams apart.
Two left-handers.
I mean, Syria and Colin Vidarana started in the 90s, but these two had just started just before that, and they started taking advantage of the.
Are you on the subject of speaker? Because there's a lot of feedback with you.
Was it me?
Yeah, it's either you or it's older Omar. I can get a lot of I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Of me?
No, it's not off you.
Hello?
That's better. It's disappeared now.
Wait 1 second.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, there's no feedback now.
you got rid of him.
Is that a Palm Angels top?
Can't afford that.
Where you work? Where do you work?
I'll tell you off stream.
I love it. I was like, is he gonna do? I was like, yeah, you know what?
I was going to for a second. I was like, I just realized we're live, so I messed up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're back. We're back live. You on a live stream or you on the old Sky Go?
I'm on live.
I'm on live now. I've come downstairs.
I'm on live.
I'm on live. I tell you, if you remember,
you should see what I've just done just to get onto this game today.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, where are you, Amy?
I'm in my son's room.
Where's Danny Boy?
I shifted him with his mum. I took the TV off the wall now with my Sky Mini box, and I brought it into his room, and I've literally I just put it on the floor like that.
How much difference does
This is called Pakistani Jugaad.
How much difference does live 4K make with a picture. High definition.
You know what? To be honest, I never see the fascination. I can't see the difference.
I can see the difference between what we used to have in the 80s and 90s, where the pictures used to be blurry.
Chance. Oh, Chance a silly boy.
Yeah, it's
It was a difficult chance. No, it wasn't.
Oh, you're taking it.
He should have caught that.
You should have taken that.
Oh, it's easy, man. That's bread and butter.
No, it's but this is a Sky Q Mini. It comes Sky Q box. So this one is not 4K, but the one downstairs is 4K. This one connects to that box and works via Wi-Fi at home.
Yeah,
I
used to
have one of them about 20 years ago, and lived above a building society, and you could basically transmit your Sky onto another box. And all I got was the CCTV at the bank downstairs.
I'm just going to move my angle so I can actually see the TV properly while I'm on the laptop.
We're already getting foot marks. You don't know
Yeah.
how to get them to
I was just discussing with Doctor and with Hamza before they left, and I was just discussing it, saying that. Oh, come on!
Surprise would have stopped that.
Oh, shut up.
That's it goes against the rules. That's your first warning.
Yeah. 3 strikes.
Yeah, we were just discussing that a little while ago, and the footmarks are coming, everything else. It doesn't.
Did that spin?
It did. It's spun to what? It doesn't look very good like batting last on this rookie, so we need to make this innings count.
Is Maharaja playing?
Yeah.
And Shamsi?
No.
They've only playing one spinner?
No, they're playing two.
They're only allowed one each.
Yeah. They've got the part-timer as well, haven't they? We've got, here we are. They've got Linda. Apparently Shamsi was on the Shamsi was actually on the team list, and he got a back spasm. Just as they were about to take the toss, they took him out and
That Nokia's pretty nippy, isn't it? It's pretty quick.
Yeah. So
don't worry, Pakistan will make a superstar of someone you haven't heard of.
Linda.
That's the only person we haven't seen much of.
Good news is Junior Dullah's coming to the 2020s. He'll be a superstar in Pakistan.
Drop his back right now, man. That's gonna hurt. Let's see. We're gonna quickly go through the comments. Cass, morning lads. Cass, come on. At some point.
Cass.
Linda is a spinner.
I thought Linda was a chocolate.
Come on, that boy. It's one of them.
Shocked.
Nah, straight the man. Yeah, I dropped him back at that day, so we dropped him on 14.
Amy, the feedback from you is terrible. I think it's your speaker.
It's your den.
I don't know, it was absolutely fine earlier.
Hassan been a bit wayward, hasn't he?
We'll see how he does after lunch.
After biryani.
Isn't in a hurry first day. Omar, who's going to get his missus to make him halva puri in a minute.
I wish.
Hopefully it's better.
A little bit, yeah, it is.
You know what it is? You know my Bluetooth headphones. This is a spare laptop because the kids are doing homeschooling. This is a spare laptop, and this won't connect onto it,
Oh.
and I don't have wired ones at the moment. Well, I do.
Speak to
but I don't know
Habibi.
where
He would say he might have some in his stock.
Yeah, Habibi.
they are. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. 99 for 2 then.
What do you reckon about 350?
Yeah, that's the max we should let them go to, but ideally even less than that. Prediction? Nav? Where do we need to be at the end of this session?
If they make 350, then it becomes very hard for us to win a test match. So we need to bowl them out for 250, but 99 for 2, we need to take 3 wickets this session minimum. But you can't see where the wickets are coming from.
Another thing is they're batting quite quickly, aren't they? Not well, unless we're just used to really slow rates.
No, at one stage there were around about 4.7 runs and over.
Yeah.
They're just 4 and over.
So they're going well. Like they're probably on to score.
Shot. No swing. Basically, there's no swing. There's no seam. So the ball lands. You can just hit it because once you've seen it at that level, you can just hit through the line, can't you?
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Arbit should have caught that. That was a easy chance. Straight
Yeah,
after.
every run's gonna hurt.
You didn't have to move.
And he's dropped him off the outside.
Yeah.
That sort of bowler that if he gets one wicket,
He's on the roll, isn't he?
up and he starts.
Omar, it was the third ball after the hurry. It's a bit hard to move, isn't it?
Oh.
Interesting little stat. Sajid Ali, as an off-free, got more wickets in Noman this season, but just at this ground, he averaged around 20 something, 22 or something like that at the NSK, and Noman averaged 57, which was his worst ground this season. We've actually gone one in this.
They've had both the bowlers. They've had them netting, so they must have seen something.
Yeah, I suppose so.
What does Sajid Ali bowl?
Offies.
And Noman Ali's left arm, isn't
he? Yeah. Abdul Rahman style.
Right. He's taking a bit of chance.
Zulfikar Babar. Was that
Yeah.
Yeah, the Spring Brothers just come out and started bowling at
big time.
I like Zulfi Chacha.
Yeah, definitely.
He's old enough to be Nav's Chacha. You know he's old then.
And 4 more.
Oh, shot.
See, most spinners would bowl 8-9 overs, 4 maidens. Yasser just doesn't have that control, does he?
Well, he's going at 4s already. But saying that, we've only bowled 4 maidens in the whole first session.
I mean, you look at that ball. It was a little bit short, but he's not even hit it very hard. That's just timing, isn't it?
Pure timing.
Got him!
Yes!
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 Oh, beauty.
Jalal Nickel, shouted Ivy.
I'm a bit behind for some reason. I don't know why.
You're on the TV or you're on Sky Go?
No, Virgin.
There you are.
But you know, when the drop came, I was before. I was ahead of you guys.
Big edge.
Yes!
Surprised would have caught that with one hand.
That's a rep. As Richie Ben will say, that's a ripper.
You know what? At least that cash hasn't cost us.
Oh,
Mate,
he's pumped.
You got another
Yasin's
9
pumped.
more.
right. So we're basically 1 wicket away from there, away from hitting. I don't rate Bavuma at all.
So
we don't
that's a century done for him then.
basically. You got Bavuma, and then you've got Wayne Lindy, and then you got Maharaja on the tail. So
No, you haven't. You forgot the cock.
Yeah, obviously I said we're 1 wicket away. You got to get the monobrow out.
Who's the mono, bro?
The cock.
Oh,
Never trust a bloke his eyebrows meet. And that's my opinion of the cock. He always does well against us, doesn't he? Do you remember those 1 days we kept scoring hundreds against us?
That's quality. Just what we needed.
It was a big edge. It wasn't even a small edge.
And I was just saying, with just said, yeah, if you get him if he gets a wicket quite early, then he's a different bowler.
100. What does Boycott say? I had 2 wickets. 199 for 2, 108 for 3. They could be 110 for 5.
their batting lineup is very similar to ours. So they got
Not
their
very good.
openers.
Not very good. Not very good.
They've got 3, 4, and 5, and then the keeper comes in, and then there's a really long tail.
Their keepers come out 5, I will come at 6.
But their tail's likely to wag more than ours.
Can no man bat? You mean? Do you know?
No idea. Nothing to talk about at home. So, but the Hassan can and Yasser can. So we're back until 9 at least, isn't it?
Shaheen can as well a bit when he puts his mind to it.
So who can't bat?
Probably Noman at the minute.
Who's number 11?
Probably Noman.
Oof, that was one awful ball here first up. We've got 2 lefties out there now.
Right into the rough as well.
I know they say left arm spinners don't really like bowling to left-hand batsmen, but I think giving Noman a couple of overs into that rough right now might not be such a bad idea.
Yeah, just to. That was a beauty, though.
It feels just nice just picking up some wickets. It makes a change from my last season.
I was going to ask you something, but I forgot now. What was I going to say? Oh, was Hamza ranting about Fahim?
To be honest, I was coming on and I was going away.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the first question he asked me when I got on was, "What did you think of Fahim?" So I think you probably have a good old run.
Do you know what it is? I don't understand why we drop him. He's done nothing wrong.
Who?
Fahim.
We haven't dropped him.
No, I said why would we? I know Hamza's really against it. Would you play him? Nav, would you play him?
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you?
Because Hamza reckons you should have 7 batsmen and 4 bowlers.
Well, that and a home test match that's really negative, isn't it? You have four bowlers. They don't give you a lot of chance to rotate your bowlers.
That's the whole point of an all-rounder.
Surprise would have caught that.
Surprise would have stopped that. Yes, guys, we do have a Surprise fanboy here. Noman averages 19 in first-class cricket. Yeah, he does. It's just at this ground, I was just discussing this ground. He's got a poorer record at this ground.
50 for Olga. Imi, would you play for him?
I think you've got to look at the wicket.
If you didn't play for him, who would you play?
Yeah,
but
okay.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. With the squad we had available, yeah, I don't see the sense of playing three spinners.
Can anyone explain why Harris Ralph was in the squad?
A little bit. So basically, Muhammad was seeing things that he's got a bit of X factor, let's say, and they can
like Nassim and like Musa Khan.
Who's got the X factor? Sorry.
No comment. Harris, Rolf.
That was a surprising one. But then, like, if a coach is putting out, sorry, a selector's putting out 20 choices, 18 of them anyone can pick, and then he's going to have someone where he's going to say, yeah, this is my gut instinct. Overall, the squad is quite good.
Why isn't Harris playing first-class cricket then?
Because he's in Australia playing Big Bash.
No, he's not. He's in Pakistan.
Has he come back?
Yeah, he's in the squad, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, what am I talking about? Well, you know what I mean. Well, he was.
Well, the first-class season had finished.
Yes.
But that's the thing, innit? We discussed that during the New Zealand series as well. Hasnain, Harris, a lot of them just have not played any sort of first-class cricket. So where do you develop them? Where do you develop your fast bowlers? They're not playing first-class cricket.
He should at least be playing Pakistan Cup then.
Does he play 50 over cricket, old Ralphie?
Not really.
Another boundary? They've scored 20 runs in 4 overs, 19 fours.
I'm just going to pick it up on Harris Rolf right now. In a second.
A lot of boundaries though, isn't it?
19.
I know. Well, 2 off this over already.
Harris Rolf has played 6 list A games in his career. 2 of them two of them are ODIs. He has played 3 first-class games.
What's his figures in those?
3 in first-class games. 7 wickets in 5 innings, averaging nearly 40.
You see, the thing with playing T20 is you can get away with fast balls, slow balls, right? Playing anything else, you need a bit more than bowling a slower ball.
He's got a good bumper when he gets it right.
So a bouncer and a slower ball. That's
And a Yorker.
But you need swing and seam, don't you? Which I don't think you've got.
He's played 3 first-class games. I was just picking up on Hasnain a little while ago, and I think Hasnain has played 2 first-class games. How do you develop fast bowlers if they're just not going to play the games?
You know, to be honest, Hasnain is better than Nassim right now. I remember when Hasnain made his debut against England, the T20 in Cardiff. I think you and Nav went to that, and he got absolutely battered. But I've been watching him, and he's not been making like massive improvements. But every time I see him, he's improved slowly. And I think he's a decent bowler now.
Yeah, Hasnain, yeah, definitely.
I think was he joint top or second leading wicket taker in PSL?
I think last season, if I remember right, I think he was top.
He was up there, wasn't he?
I think he was top.
So I think he's becoming a decent bowler. But like you said, he needs to play first-class cricket, get them overs in his legs. He bowled well the other day. 10 overs, 3 for 38, where the opposition scored 350, was it? 360?
Yeah.
Are we not judging this the wrong way? You play PSL, then you play for Pakistan, then you go back to play first-class cricket.
Oh. Actually turned off the rough.
Does he look, is it me or does he also look a bit trimmer?
He does.
That's a high definition.
It's a flat screen TV.
What's your thoughts on I didn't see anything at me. I don't know if you did. There was no leaks or anything like that yesterday. Do you think that?
Because everyone kept saying Sided's going to play with
Shakib? Yeah.
And they went the other way.
What do you reckon? Do you reckon they've tightened that up, or they must have?
No, they didn't tell him until this morning.
They have to.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. How does Saud Shakil get into this team, Imi? Or where does he get in?
You see, Saud is for me. He's a number 4 and number 5. A lot of people say number 3, but I don't think he's an ideal number 3 because he plays. He plays spin better than he plays fast bowling. But then at the number 4 is just not available.
Yeah, but would you move Barber to 3? He bats at 3 in one days.
No, I think number 4 just your best test batsman. Number 4.
Root bats at 4, doesn't he? Kohli bats at 4. Williamson bats at 3. Williamson bats at 3.
Williamson does, yeah. But your best bat always bats at 4 because you try to protect him from an early wicket falling and coming out against a new ball.
For me, ideally, Saud should come in for Fawad at 5. And then when Azhar retires, he needs to move to 3, which is what Asad should have done when Yunus Khan retired. So we don't want to be in a situation in 5 years' time. Saud's been playing 20 test matches, Azhar retires, and he plays 3 test matches at number 3 and gets 3 ducks.
Who does?
Pardon?
Who got 3 ducks?
No, we're just talking about Saud Shakil. Where does he fit in this team if he was to come in? Imi's saying at 5. But I'm saying we need somebody to replace Azhar when he retires, because Azhar's like 36 now, isn't he? 35.
He ain't retiring anytime soon.
I said number 5, yeah. Imagine if like one transfer is for.
Well, it's probably between Saud and Kamran Ghulam, isn't it?
Why have I just put up your screen?
What's that noise?
He's not eating.
Jimmy.
Here he goes again.
Is that your 3rd course? No.
No, just a bit of toast.
He had a 40-minute lunch break here to eat, but then that 40 minutes he just made it.
Who was on the first session? Hamza, Imi,
Hamza, Nav, and Doc.
Okay.
I don't have Imi at all.
I've joined in for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, I woke up and it was 4 o'clock. So I went back to sleep. It was 5:10, and then I was just like trying to keep watching while my eyes are like shutting in.
And I had my alarms on at like 4:55.
Hmm.
And then I had another one at 5. Then I had one at 5:05. Then 10:05. Then 5:15. Then 5:20. 5:25. 5:30. Every 5 minutes or 35 minutes, there's an alarm going off. But I was awake after the first one. I actually woke up. I know what's gonna happen later though. I'm gonna conk out on the sofa.
You working?
Me?
Oh, you're all right then. You guys are chilling.
Are you working?
Yeah, I'm going to work in like 10 minutes.
What do you do?
I'm not telling you live on, on live stream. I've already told you this now.
I thought I'd catch you out.
I'm a heart surgeon.
Heart surgeon. You see, there's only 3 people that are supposed to be working right now. If you're a key worker, or the 2 suit swap. Either you got to be a key worker, or you got to be a drug dealer. That's how it is.
To be fair, I'm probably dressed like a drug dealer, but I'm not.
Our workplaces are closed.
Still studying in Birmingham.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
It feels weird, like doing it on the screen.
I
Because
think we need to get the cock out.
Can't hear the commentary. You actually watch every ball because you can't.
Amy, I can't hear you.
Come on, Yasser. Short for. That's the problem with Yasser, isn't it? Because we discussed.
Omar, can you hear Amy at all?
yeah.
Amy, I can't hear you. You're breaking.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
No, I can't make anything of what Amy says.
Come out and go back in.
All right, okay.
Hello? So, yeah, where did you work?
Oh, you already know?
I know. I'm just saying, that was called work ago.
Even though I told him, and he's like, oh, he's back.
Amy, speak.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello?
7, 6.
Come on, Yasser. At the moment, the minimum matches as captain, how would you rate his captaincy? You know what?
That was a rubbish ball.
This is what we discussed it, didn't we, about Yasser? You get this aggressive side effect with Yasser above his captaincy.
But that was
You get a very aggressive side effect.
I mean, what was that? That was 2 foot down leg side.
You can't captain that.
Mm-hmm. 20 boundaries already. That basically just says that we haven't exerted pressure by bowling in the right channel often enough. You reduce the boundaries by 7 or 8, and I'll be back in 2 seconds and try to sort something out.
Okay. Noman Ali is on. Noman Ali. Noman Chacha. Take your hand off the speaker now.
You hear me now?
Yeah. Oh.
I reckon Numan Ali is related to Jaja Zulfikar. They look like relatives.
They do look similar, don't they?
Has anyone saying anything?
Not yet. We're just waiting for Numan to bowl. Oh, well done.
Yasser's wicket. Decent leg break, that.
Oh, that was a beauty. Looking forward to seeing Rabada versus Barber.
At this rate, that won't be till tomorrow.
That's a good thing, isn't it? You don't want Barber batting tonight, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
One to square leg.
What have I seen tell him this morning?
Oh, here he is. Lock the wrists. I don't think he had a chat with him this morning.
Did that drop a chance?
Yeah,
Easy.
Who's that joining us?
Hamza.
Is it an easy one?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Silly point.
Right, I think my sound should be better now because finally I've connected
Oh,
the
decent ball, that's fun.
headsets.
Oh, beauty. Boys, Hamza's here. I am off. I'll speak to you guys later.
Yeah, okay, see you later.
So, cool.
At the moment, with the minimum matches, Barber as captain, how would you rate his captaincy? Barber has this aggressiveness in him with his captaincy. I like to see it, but obviously it's too early to judge. So let's see. We're leaking runs at the moment. Yeah. Was it 20 boundaries? I mean, if you're going to bowl that loose and allow that many balls to be hit for four, then you're not going to exert the pressure.
When did the drop come?
Third ball after lunch.
Did it cost us?
But no, because they got Faf straight away.
Oh, was it Faf they dropped?
Yeah. You got another 9 runs, you hit another 2 boundaries.
This would be nice if we got a test match without dropping easy chances.
It was a short leg, but it's pretty straightforward.
Hamza, we need to get the cock out.
What do you mean?
Adam says, "Imi, oi, oi, oi."
Charlie Nickel.
Amy, oi. Amy, oi.
I've never heard that one before. So now is my sound better?
If we get another wicket, who's in next? Who's in at
The
6?
chocolate bar, Lind.
No. It's Bavuma.
Bavuma.
Yeah, I reckon we could get him.
I said that as well. He'll probably score 100.
Yeah.
Lockdown benefits. You can stay. Lockdown benefits. You can stay at home watch the cricket without any worries.
Yeah. So I just dropped the daughter off to nursery. Still snowy outside. Like last 7 year. What's London been like? Has it snowed down there for a bit, or is it all right?
We had a few. It was like sleet more than snow.
Oh. What's the score where you guys are? What stream you guys on? It's 132 for 3, right?
133 for 3.
Yeah, if we can get another wicket.
Well, says Dean Elgar has one solid technique. He definitely does. And you know what? He's on 57 of 100 balls. Yes,
You know what? His technique is not actually that good. If you watch him against Afridi with a new ball, his legs were all over the place. There's a couple of balls where Afridi beat him, and his bat was out there.
But he's still in, isn't he?
Yeah. He's still in. I'm just saying he's not as solid as people make out. He's got an average of 40, which is pretty good batting in South Africa.
I wish our runners were that solid.
Yeah. Sean gets out for a duck, smiles, drops a catch, smiles.
I was just looking at our stats as openers, and average, right, a 35 average opener is actually decent in our history. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you look at Sohail and guys at Farhat, guys like that, they're all like 32 to 35 averages, something like that.
Yes!
What a
Is it Elgar?
No, the cock.
The cock is out.
The solid technique of Elgar still there.
You know what?
What a shot.
Absolutely awful shot.
That's a Pakistani shot.
I think I'm like 2 balls behind you guys.
It was a decent ball. It wasn't a short ball. He just tried to larrup that. And
what is he playing though?
Cock caught by butt.
What do you think it is at T20?
He's an aggressive batsman, isn't it?
Boys, that was cock into butt.
Yeah, I think I've just finished Yasta's over, so yeah, I think I'm a ball and a half behind you guys.
It's your man. It's your man Bavuma.
Bavuma, he's gonna make 100 now. He's gonna make a daddy 100.
That was not a test match shot. There was no reason for that shot.
Thank you, Habib.
No one takes his first test wicket as well.
Off a slog.
So in the first 35 minutes or so,
Took 2 wickets. Or one more is our session.
Yeah, well.
But now you'd hope for 2 or 3. You'd hope to roll them over.
Now, if it's only 5 at the end, it'll be like, you know what? We had a great opportunity to have like 6 or 7 down.
We get him. We're into their tail.
Yeah, just saw the shot. Just swiped it across the line, innit? Just looking to hit it with the spin out of the park. Yeah, just trying to be aggressive.
Look at that. There's no way his place with the team is justified. 43 test matches, 1,900 runs, an average of 31, 14 50s and 100.
Average of, is that Bavumba?
Yeah.
Average 31, that's awful.
I'm batting out 6.
Safra's average is more than that.
I'm on line. Sorry.
Just gonna mute it. It comes back. Yeah, so you know what? We've actually discussed Safraz more than we've actually discussed the players that are playing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's 2 catches for Butt. Good catch.
Mm-hmm. I look at Imran Butt here. It reminds me of
Who?
a crossover of Yasser Shah and Azhar Ali.
Have we sighted Tabriz Ali Janjua today?
And Zuf and Noman just looks like Zulfikar Babar back playing again.
He looks Zulfikar Barber, but a little bit more fit.
A little bit younger and taller.
Yeah,
What is it?
a
I
little
look
bit
at
more.
Bavuma. He played that. He was lucky with that.
Yeah, this is the time where, like, back in the day, you chuck the ball to Shoaib Akhtar or something, and he just blow a couple of wickets out of the park. Just pity we don't have a bowler like that anymore, really.
What does Naman's date of birth, shirt number mean? 61. Is that his date of birth? Question from Adam
It's the
Khan.
best game you've seen. Like, we will discuss this part later. I mean, there's plenty happening in the cricket at the moment.
I can tell you now.
Yeah, yes, Pakistan versus
Right.
so and so 1957 in the stadium of Rawalpindi,
I would
and
say
A.H. Kadar was on, and I was about
it was
19 years old.
England. It was England game in the World Cup.
Mhm. Right, Bilal, who lives in South Africa, just says, "Don't pick on Bavuma, guys. Very touchy subject here in South Africa." Lol. You know what? It it sort of hits me, yeah, that they fought racism from the past by just having their own sort of racism now.
No, it's not racism. It's not the same. It's affirmative action. That's not racism. That's trying to correct a systemic racism.
Yeah, but you see, what we were saying earlier was that it's interesting that they've had Natini, they've had Rabada and Nagidi, and all three of them would get into any team in the world because they were good bowlers. And it's interesting how the system produces bowlers of colour, but hasn't produced a decent batsman yet.
Yeah, but it's certain people have certain strengths, whether it's cultural or physical
Look at
or
that
whatever.
dangerous line there.
It's like, you know, people say like, yeah, well, why hasn't there been a world class black goalkeeper yet? You know, I don't know. Is it cultural, or, you know, because they're generally seen as being quicker, so, you know, the better outfield players, and non, you know, the good football players don't want to become goalkeepers or something. I don't know. It might be something to do with that. People just prefer to be fast. But why have Pakistan historically produced fast bowlers and India hasn't? I don't know. Cultural.
But Vuma looks very get outable though.
Well, yeah,
But like, just like
31
South
average.
Africa, though, should you have this sort of thing though, where shouldn't you just be picked on your ability rather than surely they just should have moved
I
down.
think
Just
the
be
theory is
for the
that
ability and not the skin color.
I mean, there's not, you know, their demographics. They've got a fewer white people, but all their batsmen seems to come from the same sort of few schools, the same system. And if they don't do that, they're never ever going to have a change. They still have players that will come through.
Yeah, they want to get buy-in from the majority of the country, which is black Africans. So, you know, you do need representation. And if they were systematically excluded from cricket, from representing South Africa for 40 years, you're going to have to systematically include them. That's all that is. You're not going to do it forever. Even they're saying that.
I think what
No,
they're
you're not going
going
to do it forever.
I think it's what's for short-term negativity for long-term results. So they're going to have to play people like this for a while.
I'm just going to go into another room. I'll be a second.
He's gone.
Give me back. Hey, yeah.
I wonder what the odds on Elgar carrying his bat are.
I wouldn't bet against it right now.
Thing with Pavuma is to try and draw him out of his crease. He's not a big man, so if you can get him coming out. Oh,
I mean, both of these bowlers will fancy him right now.
what do we think the first inning score is going to be? I'm going for between 190 and 210.
I'll snap your hands off for that right now.
Yeah, you've not had breakfast. I know what you like before breakfast. Yes.
Oh yes! Elgar's gone.
And another poor shot away from his body.
Oh yes. I think that's the closest you're going to see to me. See me do Bangla live on air.
Well, we've got Facebook evidence of you doing Bungra.
Yeah, well, I think it's on Twitter as well.
I mean, again, that's a nothing shot, on a second day of a test match, trying to play a big booming drive when you're 130 for 4. It wasn't a good shot.
Did we get another wicket?
Yeah.
Who's it?
Elgar's gone.
Elgar.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the curse of the commentator? Yeah. This was the curse of Nav. Nav goes one ball earlier. Nav goes, what's the odds on him like carrying the bat? Next ball, he's gone.
And I said 190 to 210, and you were going, you'd bite my hand off.
Bloody hell. It still will.
Yeah. Right. So an hour after, 40 minutes after lunch on day 1, and then number 7 striding in.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7. Yeah, they're doing well, and the number 7's an all-rounder as well. I reckon he's not a good batsman.
Chacha's got 2 for 20.
He's bowled all right, good control. I don't think he's anything special, Norman. But in certain conditions, if you need a second spinner, I think he'll be good. I don't think you could lead with him.
Well, I think you can lead with him more than you can lead with Zafar Gohar.
I don't know. You can't judge him on that New Zealand test, mate.
Well, Linde's played 3 innings, got 64 runs, averaging 32. Does it tell you much? So basically, in his one game, he got 64 runs before this. This is his second game.
Oh,
good start. Good start.
Yeah, get the men up.
what a
Get
shit!
Yasser and Thingamajigger.
What a shit shot!
Yeah, very loose kind of shot.
I love how it worked out. Big,
Did we just hit the stumps from the next throw? Oh my god!
Yes. You know what? We're actually doing it right now in the fielding.
We don't want to use up all our fielding luck in one day.
The yearly allowance.
Yeah. Decades allowance.
I love how we worked Dean Elgar's wicket out live on this stream. Started right from let me just try and find it. Omar saying Dean Elgar has one solid technique, and then Nav saying he's going to carry his bat, and it's gone. Proper jinx work.
To be fair, I did say his technique isn't as solid as you're all making out.
3 for 43, 12 overs since lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be batting after tea.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with the Liam Dara's beard? He's gone for the beard, no moustache.
Yeah, I've never liked that look. Just give it a little trim. That's all you got to do. Give it a little trim.
It does look like a stuck-on bed, doesn't it?
That is a very South Asian thing as well. Pakistani. You don't see Arabs doing that.
Do you know what? I'm not talking about his beard. Just as him as an umpire. Earlier on, he did something in the first. I think in the first over, or the second, third over of the innings when Shane was bowling and it was high, and Shane appealed and he gave a not out, and he
Oh,
he pointed to Shane that is high. I'm sure he's not that anymore because of DRS system.
You know, looking at that Elgar wicket again, got to give Newman some credit because the ball just went straight on.
Simon. What happened there?
Nothing happened there. You disappeared. Do you guys get intimidated playing going to Pakistan India games? No, never. Yeah, we'll discuss this later. I mean, it's quite an interesting test match going on at the moment. We've got loads of time to discuss some stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
the test match.
we don't get into no one intimidates me though.
No, definitely not. If you're seeing Nav on the screen right now, but when you see him in real life, yeah, 6'11", 35 stone.
Mohammed Harris made 100. He's piling on the runs, bruv.
As a keeper.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second.
He's made 100. His first list day 100. Made a 70 odd the other day.
Don't know what Liam Dart's actually saying to Yasser. I see what you're saying about his beard. It looks like it's just been like stuck on.
Bollywood beard.
Yeah. So this session I'm just now, yeah, without actually knowing what I'm trying to do.
What?
But yeah, it is looking good. 139 for 5. 2 new batsmen are in. And the debutant, or both debutants, have had a good start. One's taken 2 catches, one very good catch, and the other one's got 2 wickets. So there you go. Very inexperienced team, though, isn't it, Hamza?
Well, both teams are very inexperienced, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying at the start of the session with Akbar. We don't know much about them, and they don't know much about us. And sort of teams are set up in a similar way. They're going with an all-rounder as well. Again, which I think is a weird decision.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's a spin bowling all-rounder, but still.
They've got a few more than us. I think Elgar, De Kock, and Faf have got a reasonable amount of experience.
Them three have got lots of experience.
The
thing is, Elgar, De Kock, and Faf. Other than De Kock, Elgar and Faf, they're okay. They're not Smith and Callis, are they?
No, we've got apart from Azhar, it's all of them have just made their debuts. I don't know, so Yasser, all of them have just made their debuts now.
I mean, you look at our lineup, you think Abid, Imran Butt, Fawad. What's that? Nothing. It's just Barbara and Azhar. Rizwan.
Yeah. Tests, something like that. It's not a lot.
Now, if you had Safraz,
Allah Toba. At least we moved on from me. If we had moved up me on that,
Zahir Abbas.
I think Noman. I mean, not that it matters to me at all because I don't look at regional cricket that way. I don't care where you're from. But I think they were saying about Noman that he's the first ever Sindhi speaking cricketer to play for Pakistan. But I mean, not that it matters to me at all. I mean, I won't care if the guy could speak. Wouldn't matter at all. But then to a lot of people, it's just a systematic thing in Pakistan. It really does matter.
The other guy, Sajid Ali. Well, where was he from?
KPK.
So we have we picked Noman Ali. You know the sort of thing that happens in Pakistan. We picked him because he's a Karachi player for a Karachi Test match.
Do you know what? It wouldn't actually put it past Pakistan to do something like that. Mind you, he's performed here, so well, thus far.
Where's the next Test match?
Bindi.
Where? Yeah, Bindi.
Bindi.
Is it just 2 Test matches?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's disappointing, isn't it? It's gone from 3 Test matches being a series to 2.
We're apparently not worth 3 anymore.
Yeah, but I think Test series should be a minimum of 3, regardless.
Well, they're
Never...
having another one of their Indian pissy leagues, aren't they? They've not just had one.
What's that?
Indian Mercenary League.
Is Jafar Archer part of it?
Oh, the biggest mercenary going. Sorry, Debs.
So 140 for 5. And I just don't see.
Oh. See, Yasser bowls better when he slows it down. He tends to bowl it too fast. Just watch his pace. He bowls better when he's at 50 than he is at 56.
Just needs to mix it up.
You have to give it a bit of flight and air, don't you?
Both seamers quite expensive, in fact. Shaheen and Hudson. 4.38 and 4.11 runs and over.
Well, for him, bought you the control.
Yep. And then Noman and Yasser have got the wickets. Along with control. I think it's time to just keep going with Noman on one end. Just keep going.
I'm supposed to be dropping your daughter off.
Sorry? I've done that.
All right, that was quick.
Yeah. 7:30.
Sorry? A little bit of drinking stuff. You want to drink something? Yeah. And nothing else? Oh, always? For lunch, dinner, yeah? Just sometimes. वैसे तो नहीं हो सकता ना आपको खाना भी पड़ता है
What do you reckon? Bring the 3D back. I want to bring the 3D back for a bit.
Which one? Shahid or Shaheen?
You know.
फिर क्या करना बेटे?
You know what? It wouldn't probably be a bad idea right now, just to see that if there's
anything. Surface, bit of reverse or something. He bowled quite well too.
So poor now.
50 balls at the last boundary.
What? Answering the dad. What?
50 balls at the last boundary.
Which brings control and it brings wickets. And wickets actually help that as well, so it works both ways. Almost asked a question here. Do you think Misbah and Cole will be getting the call after the South Africa series, whether we win or lose? Hamza, what do you think?
No, I don't think there's that sort of. I don't think we should run an institution like that where it doesn't matter what the. I don't think anything that bad has happened that warrants.
We're on fire in the field today.
Yeah, I mean, if we lose this series, then yeah, that's a problem. Because you got against the revamped South Africa. No disrespect to them, against the revamped South Africa, you need to be at least drawing that home series, if not winning it 1-0. So yeah, if we lose, there's a problem. But I think I don't know. Maybe I'm being.
It's a matter of the cricket we play that will be the judge of it.
I still think we'll win 1-0.
I mean, if we win the series, I can't see how they can sack the coach. You just can't do it.
We've never beaten South Africa, have we?
I don't think we have, you know.
I can't remember one.
In 28 tests.
I know this up, but I don't know about this. I don't know about the stats around it, series wise. But we've only ever won 4 test matches against them, so
we ain't gonna win a series, but we need 4 test matches.
Yeah, unless we won one series, one drawn.
Well, I can't remember it.
But I can't even. So.
We've all gone quiet again.
Yeah, I think they've gone for a drinks break.
Yeah.
Now we've got Carlos.
You guys carry on. I'll be back in 2 minutes anyhow.
All right.
Yeah, just put a bit of pressure on them. I think both of these guys, I mean, they might surprise us and put on a 100 partnership, but I think we should be able to get both of them out.
Yeah, should be able to.
Yeah, I was saying the way No Man got what's his bloody name, Elgar. I keep thinking Wagner. That's the other musician, isn't he? Composer. So he got Elgar out. The ball didn't just go straight. If you watch it carefully, it just held its line slightly. I don't know if that was a fluke or if it was like a proper arm ball where you don't put much spin on it. You just sort of like flop it out of your hand. But if you meant for that to go straight, that's a good ball then. I don't think that's a bad shot. I think it was a good ball.
A very good ball. 2 for 20 in the first day of a test match is good going for a spinner. Yeah. Hang on a second, let me just. Have you got lessons, son?
Yes, a lot. 100%.
I'm back.
I'm still on a break. Something to consider. If you look at, the 3D wicket that Buck caught, that was a genuine edge, and it was nowhere near carrying to the first slip.
No.
So why was the first slip that deep? That was a genuine edge.
I would ask you wicket keeper that. Wouldn't have happened in Safraz this time.
You need to take a step up, mate. If
Well,
they're genuine edge, you ain't getting to the first slip. You need to take a step forward.
I mean, look at where he's standing now. I would take another step up. The wicket keeper is too far back.
I'm back.
We were just saying that Afridi wicket. If you look at it, that was a genuine edge.
Guys,
and
I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. And that it was not going to get to the first slip, was it? That's why Imran dived across.
Yeah.
Why are they that deep? If a genuine edge was literally not even going to get to your fingertips at first slip, shouldn't you be taking a step up?
A little bit, but I think they are up from where they were before. This pitch is quite low as well. But then you got to make that adjustment and say, right, got to move up even more then. Didn't Nav just say the keeper's too far back?
No.
He
said it wouldn't happen in Sarfraz's day.
Because he really does have an agenda, doesn't he?
Well, to be fair, he said it in tongue in cheek. And I think Imi might have dropped out. Hopefully he'll be back. What's 2003? Omar.
I don't know how I dropped out there.
Yeah.
Omar says 2003. We actually won.
What?
We actually won a series 1-0.
Was it a 2-test series?
Either 2 or 3. We'll check it out later.
Is it? I don't remember that. Let me check that.
Shoaib Akhtar was on fire.
I remember Shoaib like smashing Jack Callis's stumps, but they were ODIs.
What is your hopes for Stani Army near future? We've got plans. At the moment, we're not making them public, but we've got plans. So stay tuned. I mean, soon enough, in the next couple of months, hopefully we'll be unveiling a few things.
Yeah, 2003 we won. First test won by 8 wickets. Second test was drawn. There's only a 2-test. Let's bring up the scorecard. Let's go back. Let's go back a few years. What were you all doing in 2003? Yeah, South Africa batted first. Got 320. Boucher top.
Is that running for?
Huh?
That's probably after the World Cup.
Yeah, Akhtar 2 for 62. Sammy 1 for 66. Basically, I'm not going to tell you who took the wicket. Pakistan first innings. We got 401. Asim. Oh, I remember that. Asim Kamal 99. He got out.
Oh yes, I remember that now.
Yeah, Tawfiq Umar got 100. It's coming back. Yeah, I think that series, Imran Farhat scored the dodgiest 100 in the history of Test cricket. It's all coming back now. I remember that. Fluky bugger. Yeah, 401. Pollock 1 for 48. Paul Adams 7 for 128. Antini none for 88. Andre Nell 2 for 67.
Yeah.
In South Africa's second innings, 241 all out.
Oh,
Gibbs almost got
wicket. Yes. From what I just saw, yeah.
Yeah. Akhtar 4 for 36, and Danish got 5 for 46 and wrapped it up. Pakistan target 161. Yeah, chased it 164 for 2 at a counter. Farhat and Tawfiq Umar got 100 opening partnership, 134. Yeah, and I think, let me check the second test. I think it was the second test where Farhat fluked 100. I remember. South Africa 278 all out first innings. Sherbakter got a fourfer. Yep, Imran Farhat 128 in the second innings. Yeah, Imi dropped out. He'll be back, don't worry. Pakistan first innings 348. Yeah, Farhat with his fluky 100. Tawfiq Umar 68. He was on fire in this series, wasn't he? Tawfiq Umar. You must have thought he was the new. You must have thought he was the new Saeed Anwar. Didn't he disappoint? Then South Africa's second innings 371 for 8 declared. Kirsten got 118. Target 302. And we were 242 for 6. Omar Hussein, Alhamdulillah, our fielding has been spot on apart from Barbara's dropped catch. Wasn't it Abid who dropped the catch? Don't forget it was Barbara who dropped the catch. It was Abid. Let's check Tawfiq Umar's career stats. Yeah, 44 tests, averaged almost 38. By Pakistani standards of openers, that is not shabby. High score 236. Who the hell do you get that against? No one's bowling with good control. Yeah, I reckon we should bring the seamers back on. Give Afridi a couple of overs. Just me right now, boys in bed. Boys and girls. It is just me right now. Amy will be back in a bit. Surprised Yas hasn't got much turn. He hasn't really caused too much trouble. Maybe it's early. This is day one.